welcome to day 3 of stage 2 of the Canada division. I'm Jackie Jing, and I am with Kix and Intero. Hope that you all are having a wonderful Friday. How you feeling, Kix? How's your Friday going?
Terrible, but I am going to be A-okay for these matches here, and that's what's important.
No, don't say terrible. I heard you didn't sleep very well, right?
No, I had some less than friendly food, and it upset my stomach, but I'll be okay.
Okay, well, we're happy that you're here. We're going to get through it. Intero, how's your Friday going?
I mean, significantly better than somebody who had food poisoning.
Oh,
I think that's
Lord.
a pretty low bar to clear, to be honest, but
I'll be okay.
I'm here and I'm alive.
Yay, we're here, we're alive, we're in good spirits, and also a lot on the line today. The loser will be sent to relegation, and that is scary, y'all. That's definitely scary. But we will get into all that in just a second. We want to get this match rolling here, but really quickly, we have a quick word from our sponsor, so please take a listen. Welcome back, everyone, and very exciting today. We will be watching Nordik versus Livid. So let's get right into it and start chatting about these teams, and we will start with Nordik. They had a tough loss against Altiora last week, and Intero, we were chatting before the show started, and you were like, real talk, they have regressed since stage 1.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly appeared that way. I think they were obviously hindered by the fact that Altiora looks significantly better than they did before. And it's always a challenge when you're in the midst of that match to try and, suss out, is it that Nordik is playing poorly? Is it that Altiora is playing better? I think it was a little bit of both. I think there were a number of rounds where the word that I used was Nordik looked lost. And I absolutely stand by that statement. For the record, Nordik looked like they had no idea where Altiora were coming from. There were lots of times where Nordik were getting killed from the back, whether that's poor comms, poor game sense, poor map awareness, whatever it may be. If you want to be a team of this caliber, and Nordik certainly did look like they had a pretty good lock on the second best team in the Canada division at the end of the previous stage, then you need to be better than Nordik was against Altiora. Now, the good news is they're going up against a team that hasn't won yet. So you go up against Team Livid, who I think's only won 2 maps so far in the Canada division. This is a gift for Nordik. If they struggle here, they are in a worse spot than I thought that they were against Altiora.
Yeah, definitely. They are looking shaky. And Kix, we were chatting before the show, and you were saying, yeah, Nordik is looking shaky, and Livid is actually looking like they're catching stride. So how do you think they're going to line up today?
Well, yeah, I mean, when you look at Livid and you factor in Brian, who is quite possibly the most experienced player in this division, and I know that you could argue that, but I think that there's going to be a lot of room to grow on this roster. And as much as Livid did get 2-0'd by Mirage, they did a sight better than I think most people expected. They got some rounds off Mirage, and let's remember, Mirage is in the Canadian division, the undisputed number 1 right now. So, yeah, bad go of it, but better than they were against Nordik in stage 1, where they got absolutely destroyed 7-3, 7-1. I think that Livid has a higher ceiling now with their current roster, and I have hope for their future.
Okay, well, let's talk about Livid a little bit then. And we were talking about Brian. He has experience, hands down. He was on Rogue, SSG. So, Kix, I'm going to start with you for this one. What do you think his impact on the team will be?
I think that given that experience, you're always going to have him come in and reset things. Now, when you have a player who has got something under their belt like that, they're always going to want to try and define the team in their own way. Now, in the short term, this will upset things. This will make the team worse, in fact. But in the long term, if the whole team buckles down and commits to trying to get as much out of Brian's experience as possible, then the possibilities are quite endless, actually. And I think that, in theory, it could open up new doors for Livid and give them an edge over the rest of the competition.
Okay, and, we were just talking about Brian a little bit, and Tara, I want to pick your brain a little bit here. So Brian, he switched up roles mid-match when they were playing Mirage, and found that kind of interesting. Can you explain why you think that decision was made, and do you think that it was a good decision?
I mean, midway through Oregon, we saw Brian go off of Ace and onto Zofia, and, the reason for that, in my humble opinion, without having talked to Brian about it, is that the team was really struggling to get off the ground in terms of fragging potential. Zigalo wasn't having the greatest go of it. Omega's done decently well for Livid in the past. Piper steps in and he's playing fragging operators, and he's doing a pretty poor job of it statistically. He had the worst stats on his team in playing Sledge and Jaeger. You cannot be dropping the ball that frequently. And I think there was on Oregon, I think actually it was either Oregon or the map before that, where we just saw Hypers not get a kill for like 7 or 8 rounds in a row. That's not acceptable. You cannot be playing at that level, frankly. And, you need somebody like Brian. Brian can rack up kills in pro play against the best teams in the world. We've seen him do it on LANs before. We've seen him do it against tough opponents. We saw him do it in the old pro league. And, I have no doubt that if he were to go back into the US division, he would do it now as well. So you need that extra oomph. You move him off of a role that's going to be farther back, less engaged with the action. Ace is a good operator for getting kills once all the jobs are done that he needs to do. If you bring somebody like Zofia, you can play a little bit faster with aggressiveness, and I think it did kind of help Livid, but at the end of the day, I think their problems are a lot deeper than just one person not showing up.
Okay, well, gentlemen, this just coming in, we have moved into the map selection process, and that information should be coming down any second now. So let me know what you're thinking map vetoes wise as this information comes up.
All right, so Cafe, the first map, and Villa, the second Oregon for our last. I think that this is going to be an interesting one. I don't see any particular standouts and advantage. And the important thing to consider here is that these are very different teams than Stage 1. So in the short term, Oregon and Villa were played by Livid. They lost to Mirage, but Livid managed to take a few rounds. That's good. I mean, off of Mirage, it's worth something, even if you're the one losing the team. Consulate, Coastline, Oregon were the maps played by Nordik against Altiora, so there's less to go on for them. I will say, though, Altiora did beat Nordik on Oregon, so not a whole lot of relevant data, but we've got that at least.
Okay. All right, well, let's get right into this. Really quickly, though, just final thoughts before going into this match. I mean, relegation is looming. I'm sure these teams are feeling that pressure right now, Parker.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm Nordik, I'm not really sweating it coming into this. I hate to say it because I don't want to seem like I'm punching down on Livid. But if Livid's only won 1 or 2 maps this whole time, and I'd have to get an exact number because I was thinking 2, but then I think that they might have actually only won 1 map so far.
1.
That's it. So there you go. That is correct. So Livid's only won a single map. If I'm Nordik, I'm taking this seriously, obviously, because relegations are on the line. But at the end of the day, I don't know how much we're going to see them sweat. Pressure's on for Livid, though, to try and hold on. And even if they go into relegations, they've still got another chance. It is not automatic, so they will fight for their spot against the best team that comes out of Canadian Challenger League. But you still don't want to find yourself in that position if you can avoid it.
Okay, Kix, what are you thinking?
Again, I stand by Brian long-term. I think he'll be a great addition to this roster. I do think when I say long-term, I mean like a few months down the line. So right now, I think Livid's definitely going to be having some turmoil on that front. We saw it represented in the Mirage match, as Parker mentioned, with not the roster change, but the role changes in the middle of a map. And we might see it here today, but we are seeing a weakened Nordik and a slightly stronger Livid for what that's worth.
Okay, gentlemen, well, let's get right to it. Super excited for this Nordik versus Livid. So let's get rolling on the action. Take it away, y'all, and I will chat with you later. Bye. Have fun.
Thank you very much, Jackie. Let's get underway with this match. We don't want to hold you from the goods too much, Michael. We're 11 minutes past the start time, and for me, that's as good as any time to get into Cafe Dostoevsky here. What are the win conditions for Nordik, and what are the win conditions for Livid on this map, not the whole matchup?
Well, for Cafe, as I mentioned, it hasn't been played by either team in this stage, and I really don't think I value the last stage's results map-wise. So let's take a look at the map in a step-back kind of setting. It is a defender-sided map, though not nearly as defender-sided as it had been, or it was in the past. So racking up those rounds on the defensive side is going to be a significant importance here for both squads. Since Nordik is starting on defense, they need to have a good beginning to this map. That'll bode well for their overall.
First ban coming out is going to be Thatcher. He's a pretty typical ban here on Cafe. He'll have some significance on every single floor, and don't be too surprised to see one of the teams ban a Kaid or possibly even a Mute to try and lessen the blow of not having a Thatcher. Capital will join him. These are pretty standard default style bans, as both operators have a lot of applications. Wamai joins the bench, as also Echo is unavailable, so you're not going to see him banned.
No, we're not going to have to. I think probably a Valkyrie is what I would go with in this situation. We are playing on Cafe right now. It'll be a Mira instead. Valkyrie is probably a more enabling operator, but as I've mentioned before, Mira can be somewhat polarizing. While Valkyrie has more overall potential as an information operator, especially on a map like Cafe, sometimes you just can't get over a Mira window if you're not prepared for it. So that lack of preparedness being put on broadcast here, and see the operator selection come out for the first round. Kitchen is the first defense. Two operators brought for information, Maestro and Valkyrie. Interestingly, the Wamai ban is going to make those Maestro cams a lot easier to destroy. The Jaeger can only do so much, especially with the burn meta that we're in right now. For those of you who don't know, burn is usually things like stuns, smokes, sometimes even explosives. Something that you would throw into an ADS to clear the ADS, or into a Wamai magnet to clear that magnet, so that you can then get at the thing that the ADS or magnet is trying to protect.
All right, it's kitchen defense downstairs. You look at the lineup being brought from the defenders, and their denial is going to come in the hands of the Mute, so no Bandit or Kaid will be on the board here, even though both are available. We've actually seen some teams in this region over the last 2 weeks forego the strict denial on these walls, and instead allowing teams to take them while playing farther back inside a freezer or over by VIP or Whiskey, where Lackey is playing right now, or teams will just simply bundle up over by the front of Bakery, and the execute will come from the second floor inside of that dining room, where the hatch still appeared to be soft. So depending on what we want to see, yeah, there you go. It's been opened up. Okay, so good. That is very good for Nordik.
Yeah, they'll be setting that up as a fallback route. You could tell that they're putting a heavy emphasis on their top floor presence, or even mid floor presence, as they've opened up a lot of holes above prep and above the main bakery wall in the middle floor. That will allow the Jaeger to play off of them and then retreat if he needs to. Now, the clear is going to be a top down here for Livid. They're already on the roof, and they'll start trying to drone out S4, who will immediately fall back as he's droned. Not even going to take a risk there. 2 drones eliminated. That's actually good economy for the defense. Yes, his position was given away, but still, S4 did some good work there.
I like the nod by running that Ents charm. For those of you that watch the Canada division that also watch the old European Pro League, or old Pro League events, period, the previous Ents team was known as Sisu. They announced today that they were effectively shutting down all the players' free agents, and it was the end of a long run from a storied and historic set of teams. So a nice little nod there that we see. Omega's the very first casualty in this match, by the way, and now he'll have a teammate joining him as it's Rowdy Owly gunned down outside of Reading Door by Lackey. Nordik taking 2 picks. The Jaeger might look the wrong way. Brian and Hypers were both aligned the same way, but Brian gets there quicker Still an advantage for Nordic, though.
Mid 4 cleared. Sledge still in play. They'll be able to open up above these anchors, but as you can see, Nordic has a decent amount of rotation in the site. So they're not going to feel too rigid and thus not too exposed to the sledge. And Brian's not even getting on the soft destruction just yet. He's droning for his teammates because of the low man count on Livid. Everyone has to do multiple jobs. C4 in hand here for Bozak, S4, and Storms. Brian's going to have to dance with his happy feet above to avoid a very quick demise. There is a defender playing by Harry Potter / Mini. He's going to be opened up on above, but it's actually in Mini, not Harry Potter. And that's an easy kill there for S4. Hypers does not check Mini before vaulting, and man advantage stretches for Nordic.
Going to hold down inside a bakery and wait to see who comes towards them and in what direction. Brian gets punished, and there you go. Zigalo's down as well, so that was anticlimactic.
Huh.
All the action happening off screen. Nordic prevailing in that regard, and Livid got only a single kill, was it, to their name? Not exactly the fast start that they wanted on their map.
No, certainly not. And you could see on Nordic's faces there, they are elated to even get one round. In fact, they looked somewhat dismissive in their elation. Now, this is not something we talked about too much in the preamble, but I do think that in a matchup like this, a big part of who will actually end up winning is the mental game. And I know that that's always kind of abstract and almost, I think for some people, arbitrary. But especially at this level, when you've got a growing scene with less experienced players, both squads are going to have to remember to keep their focus throughout the entire match. And we've seen many times where teams have started to lose control when they put themselves in the winning position, and we've seen massive chokes already aplenty in the Canadian division. So it is a major factor here, especially with the a significant amount of change that's happened for both of these teams in the transition from stage 1 to stage 2.
10 seconds left.
That first round, on that note, will be a very, I guess, significant round for Nordic.
Attackers must locate and defuse the bomb.
This is rare to see a team go up to cocktail so quickly. Goodness, a spawn peek nearly gets Brian as he walks away with 1 HP and no real reset is available. I feel like, at the same time, Michael, resets aren't really something to talk about as they used to be.
No, I mean, people don't do them anymore. I think
only 90s kids will remember.
Yeah. But, you're absolutely right. Resets are, man, a thing of the past. That's a lot of damage done to Brian. Also, Bozak's trying to finish him off. You saw he was challenging the red hatch as it got opened by the sledge. But Brian will do his job. So, low HP, but hey, Brian's going to keep chugging.
Only a Finka would have been able to boost his HP, but
yeah,
teams don't really run Finka anymore. Even though she does have grenades, your grenades are instead going to be your Sledge Maverick, maybe Yana.
Maybe that's
as we see.
Maybe they took away resets so to make Finka and Doc more relevant.
Could be.
I don't know.
I mean, but the Finka HP is not,
right.
Not permanent, right?
Yeah, but I mean, imagine you can reset and then you're back up to 75. I don't know.
There's going to be a potential breakout here onto the balcony as Livid drops through red hatch. There was Pulse calling for Nordic. Instead, they're going to lose the hatch and toss up a nitro cell. Hits the other side of the piano, and Omega gets plays him rather, for a fool. Away the Pulse goes. That could have been an early pick. Instead, nothing has been found from it. Livid's possession of the top floor is all the way over in Cigar, and they're going to be holed up here. The remainder of Brian gets found out. I don't know who was involved in the initial skirmish, but it's the Maestro to be involved in the finale.
I believe it was Storms. He does have the assist for it. Nordic.
Yeah, good point.
Nordic now in a, once again, man advantage. And look at that time, too. 1 minute to go here. And Livid don't seem to have any unique game plan. It doesn't seem like they know what they're going to execute on or how they're going to execute on it. C4 prepped here from Bozak. This could do serious work, and it will. Down goes Omega. Bozak is playing this masterfully. this should have been opened up, or that desk should have been broken earlier in the round. Bad read there from Zigolo, and Bozak picks up another kill as the nade comes sailing into White Hall. Livid now really questioning their choice to push by White. S4 gets his second. It's all on Hypers, who repels into Heaven. We'll get one impactless frag, but at least it's not a flawless round, and will be felled by Storms, who does eventually get his kill.
So, Nordic really haven't broken much of a sweat here. That's 2 kills for Livid so far on their map. I do have to feel for Livid. They made these changes, bringing in the 2 newest players to the team. Obviously, they scrapped an awful lot and started fresh, which, given the way that Livid played a couple months ago, probably a wise idea. It doesn't seem to have paid any real dividends just yet. Mirage were able to cut through Livid pretty quickly, and now Nordic is doing the same thing. It's a defense on Cafe, yada, yada, yada. We don't need to spit out those stats for most of the people watching, but if you are a fan of either of these teams, there's a lot to be happy with Nordic, especially on that bomb site. Cocktail is not known as being particularly friendly to the defenders because there's very little room for error. When attackers gain control of Piano, as long as they can open up the wall into the back bar or into bathroom and shove you back, the only real thing that's going to work for you as a defender is returning fire or having somebody down below with a nitro cell. The pulse was down below, but the nitro cell got used much earlier in the round, so you didn't need to worry about too much if you were Livid in that regard. But still, they struggled to get out of Cigar. They struggled to get out of Piano. And so far, Nordic are winning their gunfights. Livid losing them. And that's been the story of Livid through these 2 matches. Now, mind you, we are heading into round number 3 of their second match, so we might be a little bit too ahead of ourselves at the moment. But Livid have really struggled to win gunfights, especially against Mirage. Fair play, Mirage is a good team. Lots of teams would struggle to win gunfights against Mirage in the Canadian division. But Livid now have easier opponents, and I say that in quote marks, against Nordic. They need to be a little bit more aggressive and find some teeth here on their attacks, or else they're going to end up by losing this first half by way too much of a deficit.
4 barbed wire on the top floor, and some wubs to boot. Nordic have a profoundly significant amount of utility invested upstairs. It's not the site right now. They're defending the middle floor, if I'm not mistaken. And given that, this is quite a lot. Storms will be playing under the skylight, Lackey by pallets, and Bozak on C3 or C1, depending on which direction you count it. The setup is going to be, I would guess, pretty difficult for Livid to deal with. They do look just as shaky as they did in previous rounds when confronting the defenders on the top floor. Information gathered, at least, and Storms will fall back. He'll die, though. Great read by Rowdy Owly. Great setup by Livid to pick off at least one of the Nordic players. The first time we've seen Livid start things off well. ADS will catch an air jab, so Heaven can still be peeked by the player inside a cocktail.
Haven't really seen that much of Rowdy Owly's killing possibilities or sophistication here, his potential, if you want to call it that. He had some great success in some of the tier 3 and tier 2 leagues, and now being in a tier 1 league for Canada. He's had some struggles. There's another kill from Hypers. He'd gotten one in the previous round. He'd noted that it was impactless. This one hoping to have a bit more impact, as Livid have now opened up their lead in this round by 2. Trying to shake off the Jaeger of Lackey above, as he's just going to continue to hold the 2 positions that he's at, by the pallets or lumber or whatever people want to call it. He can watch that cocktail door and also watch towards the White Hallway. Nobody on Livid is going to approach from White Hallway yet, and there's barbed wire, as you noted, in that position, so they'll be given away if they try to make that advance.
Livid are going to open up the reading wall. They've got to be really careful here. There's a lot going on. Rowdy will get his second kill, though. Down goes S4. This guy's getting a little aggressive on the breach, but his SMG-11 just won't be able to be controllable enough. As weird as that sounds. He won't be able to control it, rather. He'll do some significant damage to Zigolo. Be easier to win future gunfights, but in the here and now, gunfight lost. Peeking over into the reading door now seems half of Livid. This guy's going to have to hold all of this off by himself, and I don't think he's going to be able to do it. No gas canisters, and there it is. The cleanup from behind. Livid will get a flawless round for their very first.
Now, setting the stage for the remainder of this half, because we're now halfway through it. If you can tolerate my puns to a certain extent. But you've won 2 of the 3 bomb sites on defense. That's definitely what you want to do. Now, against an opponent like Livid, if I'm Nordic, I think your win conditions for this half are 5-ish rounds. I think you need a full cycle here to be perfectly comfortable heading into the next half. Especially if Nordic truly believes that they are the better team. Because Livid will be aided by the defense. They are on their map. They will probably settle in and get comfortable at some point, and will make this far more even between the 2 teams. The question is whether that will actually materialize or not, because I feel like we've speculated and I've prognosticated, as I referred to myself as the prognosticator in chief the other day, that there's an unpredictability here.
There certainly is. Why does prognostication sound like such a significant insult when you say it?
I don't know.
It sounds like you're bashing on yourself, and I have no idea why. Maybe it's all in my head. But it's just a forecast, right? Like, I'm not wrong about the definition of that word. It's like to be someone who predicts stuff. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
5 seconds left.
Well, anyway. Our prognostications have been actually somewhat inaccurate overall when it comes to the Canadian division. Given that they seem to upset us most of the time. They are successful when they ought not to be, and unsuccessful when they ought to be. And I don't mean any team in particular. I mean, it's just kind of been a common trait of the Canadian division. The only consistent we've seen so far through the entirety of the Canadian division is Mirage.
Yes.
And I think that the way I would describe the rest of the landscape is, you got a 4-team division. 3 of the teams are fighting for second place. And then, and some of them are closer than others, mind you, but that's, they're all within punching distance. And then there's Mirage, and that's pretty much what we've been looking at. So, in a way, this match is a measuring stick of, okay, well, how will they compare if and when they get to go up against Mirage? But also, keep in mind, the stakes in this match in particular, you avoid relegations. Don't want to have to deal with that.
Michael, just like how high up the meat is in the freezer, the stakes have never been higher.
I mean, okay. Yeah. I mean, I get it, because they,
I don't think I got that one properly. I think I botched it a little bit, but that's okay.
I get it, though.
You get it. I feel like my execution was like a 6 out of 10.
It's okay.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate the vote of confidence here, but
you'll learn how to butcher jokes less severely in the future
as it comes along. Yeah, no.
Did you get that one?
What am I? No, I did not.
Butcher meat.
No, a bad peek from Lackey gets punished by Owly just by the reading door. This was a repeat previously that we'd seen that was actually won by Nordic at the time. It's not the case here. So Livid, the opening pick. There's not a lot of time left on this round, by the way. There's 1 minute. That's it. So...
And plenty of C4.
And there it goes. C4 tossed off. A second kill from Rowdy Alley. This one on to S4. Down below, Bozak will see some of the roof disappear. Storms answers back. He sits down Rowdy Alley. And it's actually going to be a retake from the Legion. If there's nobody on dedicated flank watch and Hypers hasn't put down those air jabs in the right spots, there's still a possibility here that Nordic can win this. Nitrocell gets tossed out. There's a frag grenade in the way. Bozak will get out of there as quickly as he can, taking some damage in the process. He needs to be very concerned with what lies above, as he's going to watch these openings that have been created in the floor of the second floor over top of the kitchen. All the while, Ziglo with 20 seconds left. He's got diffuser in hand. He's going to have to cut open a wall or try to get into the bomb site as quickly as he can, because he is about to become the unfortunate victim of time and circumstance. Brian just sprints on in. Okay, Brian's in the middle of the bomb site. He takes down Bozak, looking for another inside a freezer. All the while, Zigalo's getting the plant down. Things are working out quite well. He gets stopped in his tracks, though, and the timer runs out at the last second. It storms above to play that quite craftily. A very, very close round. But it ends up coming out in favor of Nordic, who pick up their 3rd through 4.
Beautiful retake there from Storms on the top floor. And you saw, instead of going for the kills in the middle floor, Storms just lingered, lurked, and waited for the attackers to all fully commit to the site take, then rotated to the middle floor where there were plenty of holes made by the attack earlier in the round to then find the defused planter, wait for only a few seconds left on the round, and eliminate him before he can commit that plant and win the round. Well played there to Storms. Not so much to Nordik, but just Storms in particular. And but butcher them less severely because we were talking about hanging meat. Does it make sense now?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, it just wasn't funny.
I got it.
All right. Well, set up on the top floor now. Hopefully we'll be better than my jokes. Nordik are going to be setting up a full reinforcement on piano, as you can see. They're going to reinforce trash. They're going to reinforce back bar storage and the bathroom. This is going to force out hard destruction for whatever attack Livid wants to commit to. And the really tricky part about that is they've only got Zigolo on Maverick. So he can obviously open things as the Maverick, but it's so time consuming. He is the slowest hard destructor. He's even slower than the can opener that they just added in that almost nobody seems to want to use. How many times have you seen it used, Parker? Like in professional play, like
I think it's like probably three or four times.
I was gonna say 3.
Yeah. Well, funny that, Michael. We've probably seen it about the same times because we cast together.
Yeah, probably.
How weird that is.
Well, you didn't cast together one time though.
Yeah, just once. That was a very quick one for Blue and I, though. So
yeah, Stokes and I too. That was it was.
Yeah, Tempo didn't even show up.
It was a 15-round match actually.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad, eh? But just a brisk pace setup.
I honestly I was kind of disappointed. I wanted to cast with Stokes more because it's always nice to cast with one's colleagues.
Don't lie.
Wow. No, I was kidding.
Michael, you don't need to lie. Anyway. This is another cocktail defense as the cycle is going to continue. It was twice to kitchen, now twice to cocktail. If Nordik prevails here, they will have done what they did the first time around, which was win this bomb site twice, along with winning kitchen twice, even though kitchen, they had to wrestle victory from the jaws of defeat on that one. You still got the Pulse playing below. He's got a shotgun in hand instead of the UMP, and Storms with 33 bullets is not likely to cut through those that quickly. He's got a nitro cell prepped and ready, and it might even land itself inside of piano, which is where we had seen it be attempted previously. There goes some of the bar back storage wall, or back bar, whatever you want to call it. The castle's inside a bathroom as two separate members of Livid are watching in that direction, trying to flash and possibly collapse on this. They'll open him up. The castle's still in there, by the way, so the Ash of Omega is going to spray as best they can, but the problem for Omega is that there's coverage on the top of White stairs, and you have to be very concerned with that one.
The Mute Jammer is actually working a lot for Bozak right now. It has managed to catch quite a lot of drones, and you can see they're still hesitant. They're not able to gather all the information that they want, the attackers, that is, and Bozak will persist here. I don't think the attack is aware he's here just because of those Mute Jammers. Bozak will give himself away, though, as he stands up and makes a sound. Here comes the peek, and it's lost by Omega. He doesn't even pre-fire it. Bozak will pick up 1 for none and continue to hold the bathroom position. All that needed to happen here was either a drone or slightly a bigger hole. Hypers gets a freebie on Skies, who is just prone on the stairs, and Zigolo will push into Bozak, who's mid-C4 toss. The timing has been perfect here for Livid on the follow-up engagements. Peeking from Cocktail is Lackey. He gets shut down. Storms gets 2 big kills there, and S4 will eliminate the planter, leaving just Zigolo, who is retreated to top red. But it's also just Storms. The 1v1, and there's only 35 seconds left for the Pulse to retake this. Now, he does have the heartbeat detector. He's going to be able to whip that out, but it's only got about a 9-meter range, so he has to be careful with his positioning. It's just a rush with the shotgun. This could actually work, though. He checks the wrong corner, and Zigolo reads it perfectly. Livid will take another attacking round.
That one was so close, and the one thing was that they weren't expecting to have the Pulse put in that spot where he would need to use the shotgun in a post-plant scenario. You can see that the setup that was done by none other than Nordik was to try and stall and kill somebody from below and have the Pulse patrol in close combat, not needing to re-engage or retake. There was a lot that we didn't get to see because of the brawl that took place in the dead center of that top floor, largely around the back bar, as everybody just started dying left and right. I have to admire the confidence of Livid to take those engagements on White Stairs and in the bathroom. The castle on White Stairs gets punished as nobody's watching from below. Hypers, I believe that was able to evade the cardiac sensor of the pulse, and then Maverick just bursts into the bathroom. 2 kills gives Livid the upper hand after the opening pick had gone in favor of Nordik, as, what was it, Omega got dropped from the mute playing in that bathroom spot. Some change-ups now from Nordik. The pulse obviously not working out as effectively as they wanted, so they're going to bring an Ella with a Scorpion in hand. As good a time as ever to also talk about the pro team bundles. The R6 share bundles, of which Space Station is on Ella, G2 is on Jaeger. We see the NAL bundle on Bozak's Smoke. Nobody on Maestro. Poor Maestro.
RIP for Maestro. But, you know, he's still got the Alda. So, that's significant.
That's a pretty good gun.
Yeah. One of the best on defense, even, some say.
It would even be one of the best on attack.
Yeah. If it were on attack, I think it would be pretty amazing. The only thing that really, like, you know, anchors Maestro is that he's a 3 armor, so it's hard to be maneuverable with the Alda. But, you know, that's balance for you, isn't it? So, top floor defense here for Nordik. They've got a decent array. No shield. Or no, they do have a shield. Pardon me. They brought it on Ella. I was about to say no shield, so no pixel hold, but I didn't even check pixel, and they are going to be committing to it. This is actually very dangerous because there's no Wamai. They brought 2 shields for this setup. They're going to put 1 in the bathroom, 1 in the pixel itself. Now, tricky thing about this is the way they've set up these shields, you can destroy both of them with 1 explosive if it's well aimed. But that is not always a foregone conclusion. Sometimes it's not well aimed. We'll see about this one. It gets the pixel shield, and a second is used for the bathroom shield. It could have been a 2-for-1er, but, well, at least the job is done.
Did you say not a lot of room for error there? Is that what you said?
I don't think
I was trying to use exactly word for word what you used, but
I don't think I did. But I mean, there wasn't a lot of room for error. It was a small
that's
margin.
fine. I don't listen to you most of the time anyway. Wow.
Tell us how you really
takes
feel.
damage, by the way. So that's the first thing that we see from the defense losing is both the Jaeger and the Ella, who are playing over by the doorway towards Piano, have now moved off of that spot. And a late rotate, but a ping coming out to see if they can capitalize off of this. I don't know if Storms actually took any damage there as he's lost what looks like 3 HP, but manages to get away. He's got 7 kills through these 5 rounds of action. Technically now 6, but that's an impressive tally. And honestly, Nordik has never really had a problem with people finding that scoreboard. Lackey and Skies are quieter than usual, but I mean, when you've got Bozak, S4, and Storm showing up right now, I guess you don't really need it, but it would certainly help to give you a little bit of space. Round is still on the line here for Nordik, and this half can be theirs if they win. If not, we reset, and both teams emerge tied.
Slow going on the execute. Livid. A little bit of trepidation. They've got someone on the skylight. Somebody on Heaven Repel. They're going to be pushing in through Cigar, Whitehall, which means all of these attackers are spread thin. They will, however, win their first fight. Bozak goes down. None other than Omega. Rowdy Alley, though, felled, and the back and forth will leave Livid and Nordik in a 2v2. Lackey, great work by Cocktail. Another one for Lackey. That's 3 big kills. Storms gets the last player, though, so no 4K for Lackey, and Nordik will take the first half.
I like how on the left, he's all happy and go lucky, and then on the right, it's like a look of almost desperation.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we won the round. All right, let's keep going. Just to give you the insight into the psyche of some of these players and the stakes at which they play at, as we talked about the stakes being quite high. But
yes,
your win condition for Nordik is kind of met. Like I said, if Nordik wanted to be fully comfortable going through the rigmarole of this map, you'd want to be up 5-1. Livid will need to be significantly better on defense. I mean, it goes without saying that you need to match the total that just happened to you if you want to go to overtime. It is extremely unlikely that Livid wins this without pushing us into overtime. So expect a long second half unless Nordic puts the beat down on Livid. This is the third time in a row we're going to see this bomb site of Cocktail, fourth time overall. I am kind of surprised with how prevalent it's been, given teams favoring reading rooms so often as a secondary bomb site after kitchen. Reading has only shown up once, and its sister bomb site, mining and dining, hasn't shown up at all.
Mining is one of those sites that, as you said, is the sister to reading, but also it's, well, it gets neglected, let's be honest. As far as siblings go, it is the one that doesn't get enough attention. And I think that mostly comes down to the fact that the mining site is on the west side of the building. And generally speaking, what do people do when defending on that middle site of reading? Well, they roam on the top floor by Cocktail. They try to use the bar cutoff as a buffer, because you can put less manpower upstairs and get more out of it because of that giant hole in the floor on the north side. It's just easier to hold it. And you can't really do that on mining because, I mean, you can, but it's not going to be as effective because of bomb site on the west side of the map. And yeah, that's it. It just doesn't get played because of that, basically. Now, here and now, if I could, I'll return to this present round.
You may.
The top floor hold is looking pretty standard. There is a roamer downstairs. Now, Valkyrie doesn't have a C4. She brought a shield instead. Already placed it. 3 shields brought by Livid. They're really trying to burn out explosives. They've even got the Maestro as well. This Valkyrie is being pinched upon right now by Nordic. They really want to get this early pick and put themselves in the man advantage.
So this Maestro pick was actually something that was talked about quite interestingly, and we saw Maestro appear in the OXG SSG match on Wednesday on Theme Park with Slash playing Warden. Not Maestro, my apologies, Warden. First pick, by the way, of the round goes to Storms. He takes out Hypers. Ooh. And then another for Storms. Man, he is really storming on in. Down goes Omega now, so 2 kills for Storms. He breaks double digits with both of those, sits at 11. Why is Warden seeing so much play? Number 1, he has a 1.5 times sight on the MPX. Number 2, he has a deployable shield. His gadget is very much less important than those 2 things. So that's why you're seeing Warden get trotted out so much. Obviously, he helps in a pinch because he can still soak up utility with those glasses, by the way. You don't need magnets or ADSs if he can just see right through them when he activates his glasses. First kill for Livid's going to come out onto Storms. The hot hand from Nordic will get cooled off.
Might just be enough, as Storms really was, as you said, the hot hand. The man carrying Nordic to success, at least on the score sheet. Now it's an East Repel right now for Nordic, and they're going to be coming from below using explosives to down Zigolo. Many more explosive devices follow. Nades and ash charges, but no one actually gets Zigolo. A run out from Brian gets 3 kills. I believe that's a 4K for Brian right now. Bozak, the last attacker all of a sudden, and he's being called on the Valkyrie cam at the top of White Stairs. As he pushes over to bathroom, he'll find himself a nice rotate and take out Zigolo. That's big, finishing off the player who had been downed earlier. Brian looking for the ace, but it's Rowdy Alley to get the final kill. And Livid will take their first defense.
That really is a remarkable feat from Livid to be able to claw that one back. That should have absolutely been Nordic's round. They would have taken 5 ever closer to putting this match away. Now they've set themselves back about 3 to 4 minutes in the process and allowed Livid to get much closer and within striking distance on a favorable side. How much of that boiled down to Storms getting picked off when he did? Because you keep that buck for the extra 50 seconds that were remaining in the round after he was punished, and you lose a lot of the footing that we saw Rowdy Alley on. You lose a lot of the footing that you saw Zigolo on, even though Zigolo was picked back up. Feel free to answer.
Okay,
I said how pivotal, Michael, was it that the buck got picked off early?
Okay. Yeah, I got confused because then you changed the... he had... I don't think it was that pivotal. I think that, okay, they didn't get to open up underneath Cocktail as they had hoped to, but he got his 2 picks early in the round. So the explosives really compensated for that. They did the damage they wanted to onto Zigolo, who was playing inside of Cocktail. Yeah. I think the only thing of note is that Nordic was snowballing towards a win. Brian had the perfect run out from Snowdoor. I think it's just really mostly just the Brian show on that round, personally.
5 seconds left.
There's a 4K for Brian, you said?
Locate and
Yeah, I believe so, because he got the first kill on the Storms, right?
Yeah.
And then he followed that up with 3 on his run out. He got 1 on the player who was watching Snowdoor, then actually ran out and got 200 pel with an SMG-11.
Oh. I mean, that's why we see Brian playing these roles, and especially where he's comfortable and very familiar with. Zofia is a role that he knows decently well. It's not his most picked operator on attack. It tended to be Thatcher. Back when he was on, what was it? They called themselves Thatcher's Anonymous when they were down in Challenger League with him, Jarvis, Trippin, a whole bunch of them before they changed the name to what, Leftovers and then PogChamp or whatever insane lineage that group of gentlemen went through.
That was a long time ago.
But that was a very long time ago.
And Brian's got a lot more
My
experience.
point is that Brian is very comfortable on those secondary entry roles, along with doing some supporting work.
Right.
On defense, he's very well suited to smoke, and as long as he can control the SMG-11, he's going to be in good shape. No kitchen bomb site that we see yet. Oh my.
Sorry.
Tell us how you really feel about that one, Michael.
You see, that's what I was trying to say earlier, but no, but that was a bad nade. I think he was trying to detonate it so it didn't get caught by the ADS. Either way, well, he could have done it further back. Storms will die to Hypers, who just pushes into Cigar because nobody from Nordic is watching that push. And Nordic are their own worst enemies right now. The lack of coordination on the top floor clear and Lackey nading himself. There was something else I was going to make note of, but there's so many things all at once that it just slipped my mind. Oh yeah, that's right. Mining. We're defending mining.
Yes, it is not a reading bomb site. So now all 4 bomb sites from Cafe have been shown, and Livid are, well, they're doing a mighty fine job. Nordic will finally get themselves on the board with a minute remaining, but it's been all Livid all day. 2 more opportunities for Livid await, as Bozak and S4 are going to need to keep this one in touch, or in check rather, and right now I don't necessarily know if there's anything that would give me that confidence. The good news is that for the 2 remaining operators of Nordic, they still got lots of utility. 1 air jab, 2 ash charges, and 6 flashbangs between them. Depending on where Hypers has put those ADSs, you might actually be able to get some pretty good value out of those flashes. But Livid are not even close enough to the bomb site. There's the Ash engaging with Malusi at the top of Brown Stairs, still pinging away. That's either a Maestro cam or a default cam that's going to continue to give the Ash a spot away. Omega gets credited with the kill. It was a beautiful shot. And then down goes S4 as well. Livid mop the floor with Nordic on that round, and we have a tie game between these 2 teams.
Brian still doing work here for Livid, but overall that round was Hypers. A beautiful pick at the start of the round actually facilitated the picks he got later in the round. And what I mean by that is he pushed in through Cigar, got that pick off because nobody was watching Cigar on the attack, and I'll explain why that is later. And then he managed to get aggro. I believe he ran out on one of the windows on East Balcony and got 2 kills on that East Balcony because there was not enough manpower to watch for his run out anymore because of his original kill. Now, I said I would explain why that was allowed to happen there for Livid. It's possibly coincidental, possibly planned, but the mining defense, since it is extended on the west side, requires less clear on the top floor than a reading defense. You don't have to clear all the way to Cocktail. You can just kind of get piano and work with that. So if it is planned, then Livid expected that, and that's why Hypers was so aggressive. He thought, okay, the attack's going to clear out up to Cigar, and then they're going to leave to try and pivot to the site take. And that's going to be my window of opportunity to push in through Cigar and get some kills. And while that did happen, I could have just totally been coincidence. I really don't know. Either way, well played to Hypers, well played to Livid. An interesting defense there of the mining site.
5 seconds to go. Attackers' objective is to locate.
This has been a much closer match than I expected, if I'm being honest with you.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I expected Nordic to walk away with it. Maybe my expectations of Nordic are disproportionately high.
It does seem that way.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they were the second strongest team, or the strongest team in the Canada division that doesn't rhyme with barrage. And they struggled against Altiora, and they got smoked actually on a couple of the maps. Altiora definitely looks like the second best team right now, and I'm very, very eager to see how they stack up against Mirage next week.
That'll be an amazing match.
That will be a very fun match to watch. I'm very much looking forward to it. This one in particular right now I think is more defined by the mistakes that the teams are making, as very similarly to what we saw out of Nordic versus Altiora. And I don't know if it's Nordic necessarily regressing. Like I said, I think they have to a certain extent. I don't know how much. Altiora has obviously made some leaps and bounds, but this Livid team is now playing against a weaker squad than what they had to deal with against Mirage, and there's a bit more confidence. There's confidence in the way that Hyper's playing. Brian certainly seems a lot more confident as well. And it's frustrating Nordic, obviously. Now, Storms just completely botches that shot on the Hypers, who's having a much better day than he did last week. I think he might have actually eclipsed his total kills at this point. I think he had 9 or 10 kills, if I remember correctly, last week. Could be wrong.
I think it sounds correct. He had a really bad match, let's be honest. And right now, yeah, he's doing really well. He's been a large driving force for Livid as a whole. He was actually at the beginning of the round using what I guess we could call the oxygen angle, because I think that was the first time we really saw it in that match versus SSG. And that, oh my gosh, that angle is so nuts. I've used it a few times in ranked already, and it's just like free kills all the time. Oh man. Anyway, it didn't actually get the kill. The aggression did. Storms has been losing that fight to Hypers consistently now, and as we hit the last 50 seconds, Hypers is going to get yet another kill, this time onto S4.
So Livid in full control here, and it's only going to go from bad to worse for Nordic, as Livid are just finding their footing very, very quickly. They're going to continue this. There was only 1 kill last round from Nordic. Are they going to even be able to muster that this time? No. A flawless round. Brian, amidst the smoke, as his name would suggest, slaps down Nordic. Livid have the lead for the first time so far in this match.
Sup, friend? That was good.
That's 2 flawless rounds, by the way, for Livid so far.
Yeah. Livid have been looking really good on defense. Nordic have been... what was the word that we used? Lost, I believe?
Yes. Nordic look like they're really struggling on their entry here.
Yeah. And that's really the main story, isn't it?
I don't know if I want to say lost. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
Well, I mean... Okay. I'll put it like this instead, then. So I'll elaborate on the word lost. Storms
Great show.
Storms is in piano by himself, and he's being pushed by Storms through the main bar into Cigar for the 2nd time in a row. I put someone in Cigar on new balcony. Have a second player upstairs, for Pete's sake, to assist Storms. Because he has a job to do. As much as Storms is losing the fight to Hypers, okay, that's gonna happen. Storms also has a job to do. He's above for a reason. So, you know, he can't be holding the entire top floor by himself. Hypers pushing up there is not necessarily a smart thing, but I say in this instance, keep doing it till it doesn't work anymore, Hypers. Just keep doing it until they counter you, because it's working great so far. Anyway, once that kill always comes out, Livid become much more dynamic. They've now cleared out most of the presence upstairs, and they can focus entirely on the clear on the push into the site. That means that they've got control of pillars. That's so crucial. The reason the attackers clear upstairs is so the defense, words are hard, cannot utilize top pillars to deny a push into pillars. But what happens? Hypers gets the initial pick. He then plays in pillars. He's nice and free there, and he slaughters the rest of Nordic from the side. Sorry.
I've been impressed with Livid so far. I've been a fair critic of both these teams, I'd say.
Right. Yeah.
I think we both have, and I think for good reason.
Mm-hmm.
But
no, but I mean, you know, well played to Livid, especially. Oh boy.
Omega gets pushed from Bozak, who's with the most confidence in the world ascends white stairs, and he hits the second floor, and a kill for Nordik is something they desperately need as they look to regain the lead. And
Storms can't lose fights, or Storms can't win fights against Hypers. It's just not possible, it seems.
so I'm thinking of a TV show. They get shipwrecked on an island.
Oh my gosh, Brian just ran out on East Balcony. Lackey will get him this time. So no double kill for Brian. And Bozak actually gets his second as well.
What are we watching?
So now Nordik have the advantage.
Round?
I have no idea, Parker.
What is this round? With all due respect, what is this round? They're flying out of windows.
It's the top floor defense, and we haven't actually seen any standard top floor play yet.
This is absolutely wild, and it's a much easier job now for Rowdy Owly to just hold down one side of this map. There goes a Maestro camera that was positioned over by Heaven. Down below is Bozak, and he'll be sight unseen for now. There's still so much time left in this round because of the fracas that happened earlier. That is a very strange animation, and Lackey cleans it. Okay. Nordik, all right. Well, they take the round on one of the most confusing rounds I have casted in the last year, that is for sure.
Yeah, so that was a strange one. Hang on. Trying to think of a way to talk about it. All right, so the presence downstairs was assertively countered by Nordik, and I'm really happy that they went for that aggression. You said Bozak was one of the most confident players ascending white stairs there, and that's absolutely right, because Nordik were droning the middle floor so much that Bozak had full information. That early pick gives Nordik a leg up. Now, obviously, yes, they did lose Storms, one of their premier players, but he's been kind of quiet as of late, so it's not the end of the world. Following clearing out that middle floor, Nordik were able to enact some serious punishment from below. This east take that Nordik has been pulling out has been working out fairly well for them, and that's good. Livid are countering the east take, not in the most wise of ways, I guess. Flying out of the window for Brian, I mean, it worked for him to get one kill, but SMG-11, again, that's why I was so impressed when he got a triple kill with it the last time he ran out on East Balcony, because it's only got 17 rounds in the magazine. That is so little, and considering how fast it shoots those rounds out, it makes your options super limited. Brian didn't have enough ammo to kill the sledge Lackey, who eventually refragged him. So, yeah, I don't know if that's the right call. There are other operators that can do that, other players even in Cocktail at that moment that could have done that. Overall, lots of questionable decisions from both teams, really, but Nordik comes out on top. So, there it is. We're an even round now.
Rip up your prediction cards, because I have no idea at all what's gonna happen here. This is hard to quantify. Storms just swung into pillars, by the way, and he is gonna very cavalierly take this. He gets away with that, I guess. Well, also, Skies is yet to find the score sheet, by the way, obviously hurting his team. We had talked about how Bozak, Storms, and S4 were all doing well, so Lackey and Skies didn't need to. Yeah, well, the three members of Nordik not doing the greatest at the moment in terms of kills. Storms has fallen off. Bozak has done okay. Lackey's come alive a little bit. The rest have all fallen asleep. You need them to wake up, because you are losing gunfight after gunfight to Livid right now.
Yeah, Hyper's the gunfight victor most of the time. Is going to be playing upside in piano. He's just trying to deny a clear here, and he's actually done that so far. You can see that Nordik are mostly focused on the bomb site. All they've cleared on the top floor is red stairs. Everyone else is trying to get their way into B. Everyone else is ready to spring into the site. Storms does have a drone inside a cigar, so he's going to be able to confront the Jaeger when that fight comes out. But that's not always been a winning formula. As you can see, Nordik are waiting for picks, and they are not being presented with any.
Hyper's still upstairs right now, being hunted down by the drone work that's happening by New Hatch. Might not see Storms creeping up on him. Spots the drone and will fall off, but it's a guessing game as to where your opponent is going to come from. Missed shots onto the Zofia. 4 Hypers as he'll hit the deck and get out of there. He is now the kill leader in the lobby and has been since the previous round. A smoke going off in front of him. This breach that was opened up will actually be a major assist on his end. Sky's going for the plant. They're going to need to ping it. Downed by Brian. A second one will potentially follow up from red stairs. All the while, Storm's killing time on the top of red. It's a position from Nordik that will not hold, and they will have to maneuver elsewhere as Bozak onside a balcony. He's going to try to do some damage over towards pillars, but can't find it. Another kill from Livid as they look to take match point away from Nordik, and will be in very good shape to do so, as it's all on Storms. In a 1v5, Hypers is downed. The Malusi of Omega finished off. Ultimate disrespect as he tries to go for the impact. Can't do it. He's going to play around pillars with 6 seconds left. The diffuser is miles away, and the 3 remaining members of Livid are not going to give this to him. Maybe I'm mistaken? Well, only one did, and that was Zigalo. Match point for Livid.
You know, Parker, it's funny because that's a little bit of deja vu for me there. That strategy that Nordik just employed to attack that site is actually one that my team invented back in year 1. Like almost 5 years ago. And
Is that so, Michael?
Yeah, actually though. Actually, like beat for beat. Because they didn't really change that site very much. I mean, it's basically the same. Anyway, the execution there was pretty poor. Basically, the only way that strategy can work is if 2 factors are true. 1, you execute quickly and you utilize smokes to cut off train, because or 2, if you clear above and you open up above train so that you don't have any anchors holding your push into engine. Those are like the major ways to make that strategy work. In this instance, it would have been smarter. Hypers doesn't needed that HP. He wins fights without it. It's fine, Brian, or Omega. I think it was, yeah, it was Omega. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Yeah, they didn't do either of those. There was no smoke for the quick execute. The top clear never happened. Nordik just waited to lose the round. I think what they were trying to do is wait for picks, but Livid just didn't give them any. And if countering your strat is as simple as just don't give them picks, then there's a problem.
5 seconds to insertion.
No kitchen defense,
Locate a bomb and defuse it.
by the way.
Yeah,
Curious, isn't it?
it is. Yeah.
No kitchen defense. A bomb site that many consider to be the most defendable now that Cocktail has fallen out of favor.
Yeah, you can. I mean, metas are different in different places as well. But I mean, I can understand this. We've seen this kind of setup for Cafe before from other teams, even in the US division. Granted, a while ago, but I do remember certain squads. I want to say SSG, but I'm not 100% on that. Not going to the bottom and instead doing the 2 mid sites in the top, because they just like the way the top 4 played. And you can put, like, all of the stuff for each of those sites, they transfer over to each other. If you're playing on the top 2 floors of Cafe, it works, like, your flanks, your positioning, your game sense, your practice you put into that, it's all transferable. So that's a neat part of it.
Take upstairs as it is the final round of regulation before overtime between these 2 adversaries. We will need Villa no matter what. That's Nordik's map pick. The one thing that is kind of working in Nordik's favor is that, well, this isn't their map and they're still holding up decently well, and overtime has all of a sudden become a much greater likelihood as Hypers, whose roam on that 3rd floor was so pivotal before, is now removed. It's going to be tougher for the defense now, knowing that one of their best offensive tools is no longer on the board.
Yeah, Hypers has been winning his gunfights, and really is going to be a loss not having him. Nordik are definitely vying for OT grab here. Evil Eye inside of A, destroyed by the grenade, and Nordik now in a really good spot. Now, just because they're in a great spot after that pick doesn't mean they've won the round. You've still got Rowdy Owly upstairs, and he could potentially flank and inflict quite a lot of damage. But he seems to have been read by the player in Cigar, and in fact, there it is, the pre-fire. S4 also gets Omega in the sight, and now a 2v5 will ensue. With 45 seconds, there's plenty of time for these attackers. That's a nice shot from Brian, though. Bring the chances a little bit closer. Make it a little bit more possible for Livid to clutch this one up, even though the odds are not looking likely. Nordik are going to go ahead and play the patient game. They will wait this out and see where their opportunities are before forcing out the execution. Brian has positioned himself fairly well, but he'll be read by S4, who gets a triple kill. Now it's all on Zigolo. He's only got 45 bullets left in this magazine, and Storms will shut him down. Nordik, clean up the round and grab OT.
Nearly flawless, by the way.
Close, yeah.
These rounds have been coming so close to flawless. I mean, you get one pick and that's it. These have been wild swings in both directions. This has not been a close match in terms of 6-6 back and forth. These rounds have been very definitive. So teams seem to crumple early, and that first pick has been really crucial. Right now, just looking at my stats, the team that's getting the first pick is winning the lion's share of these rounds. Now for Livid, obviously, they're going to be on defense twice. They're going to need to be a little bit sharper than they just were. The good news is that they're going to still be quite comfortable and familiar with where they were just playing on. They obviously like this mining bomb site. They dropped Cocktail and Reading once a piece despite winning it the other time. So why not go to the one bomb site that you have consistently won? And by consistently, I mean that's two. A lot of the wins that come on this map, or this site rather, are happening on the third floor as we come to expect. A lot of that has been Hyper's roam, the way he's been assisted with the rest of the team, and then Brian to close out the mid round. These two, the two new additions to Livid, are showing that there was a reason why they got picked up, and it is nice to finally see Hypers acclimating to this level of play.
It is nice to see that, yes. Now, everybody has bad matches, and it's possible, like with Hypers, for example, that it just happened to be a bad match last time he played. Here he seems to be putting on quite a show. In fact, it's the two new members, Brian and Hypers, who are the standouts on Livid right now. 13 and 12 kills. Beautiful stuff from them. 25 in total. That is more than the 15 the rest of their team has put together. Now, it is a trained defense here. Nordik struggled to attack this site last time they were on it. Mostly that came down to once again not clearing out above and using vertical to their advantage, or not executing fast enough and using smokes to get a plant. They tried for the latter, but they just didn't have the speed necessary. Right now, Storms is going to be putting himself in Cigar and trying to clear out above. S4 is on the East Rappel. He's trying to cut off rotation from the roamers and put pressure on these defenders.
Jaeger play upstairs, aided with the smoke and the deployable shield around the windows. We saw, what was it, a swing out from Livid on defense, but it wasn't on this actual bomb site that we saw it on. Whether it's a swing or not, the SMG-11s appear to be quite beneficial. Hyper's dove out the window. He's going to need to get back into the map. You got to keep him alive as best as you can. Omega gets the very first kill for Livid just a moment before that. So they are in pretty good shape. Halfway point of this round, the first of overtime.
This is key. Sledge will be opening up above, and he's going to make quick work of this floor, their ceiling. All of the spots that you would commonly see an anchor play inside of Reading will be forced out. Now, luckily, Reading isn't the site. It's mining. So this vertical is kind of more hunting roamers, and those roamers are going to be fine with rotating to the site later. Now, Lackey's going to eat some damage there, but not enough to get a kill. Gas canister goes up to heaven to try and do more damage. It's some quick action going on here, but Brian's gotten good value out of his death in a few seconds. There it is. I was waiting for it. 3 members on Nordik, guns pointed at Brian. Finally, he dies. And there comes a nade deep into Reading. Now, once again, Reading is not the site, so it doesn't need to be hard held here by Livid. They have fallen off of it.
Zigalo is watching as the security above him gets torn to pieces. He heads into the B-bomb site. Hyper's not too far off. The execute that we're going to see happen will likely be on the B-bomb site, though there's a stack up over towards Reading. They could try to pressure the back of A. Rowdy Owly with one taken out by Bozak, so immediately refragged. Hyper's now in an engagement. That Lackey takes some damage from a nice play from Omega on the skies. Down goes Hypers. He's finished off. 2 for Omega with only 7 seconds left. That diffuser is going to need to be picked up. It's in the Lion's Den of the A-bomb site. Going to be going for 3 is none other than Omega, and he'll get them all. Largely effortless hold inside of that bomb site. And Livid goes back onto map point.
Great round there for Omega. And I believe he picked up a 4K in total in the round, 3 at the end, as you noted. And I think that Nordik are going to be struggling now. Now, what happened there was a completely different attack there from Nordik. They tried to change things up. I have a lot of respect for Nordik for the fact that they didn't commit fully to their train wreck of a plan the last time they tried to execute onto that site. They cleared out the top floor. Nordik was extremely assertive with their soft destruction from above. It just so happened, though, that they were assertive on the wrong site. Now, I know that Reading is a haven for the defenders when they're roaming. And I know that pushing the roamers out of there, it would be good. But they wasted too much time there. Now, it could be one of two things. It could be that Nordik didn't know what the bomb site was. Or it could be that they just meandered about too much. Either way, unfortunate, too much time wasted trying to clear out Reading, not enough time used actually putting pressure onto the bomb site, and that's why you saw at the end there, especially when the defenders are rotating in their own site, there's only 20 seconds left. The vertical pressure now is meaningless, and the rush is just going to come into dining. It wasn't a coordinated rush, and thus Omega was allowed to take a series of 1v1s in that round. So, well played to Omega. Credit where credit is due. He shouldn't have won all those fights, and it is a feat that he did, but Nordik handed it to him at the same time.
Are we going to see a run out from Nordik here, by the way? A jump out from Nordik?
Maybe.
I wouldn't put it past them. Though it is a huge risk having this map on the line.
You've got 3 members on Livid on the east balcony. He will certainly die, but the question is, how many can he take with him? I think he's just waiting for a repel.
It certainly seems like with those 2 hits that a jump out is about to happen.
He might just be waiting for a repel.
There is one of the Gzhmut mines above him.
Yeah.
So if somebody goes in, well, you're going to be damaged. 16 kills for Storms is pretty good. He's regained the lead in the lobby. He's the king of the hill, if you want to call it that. And Skies, by the way, had finally broken that donut. That's a big weight off his shoulders. Bozak now for the run out as the Ash is on rappel. And there you go. Down goes Omega. Played so well. The Ella doesn't need to do much at all. But now Bozak will be downstairs. That's information that Livid has. The question is, will somebody be in a position to deal with it? It looks like most of their forces are upstairs. Great play from Storms. 2 huge kills. He could be going for more. 18 is his total. And the Maverick is standing at the top of red and is now being joined by Hypers as well. Nordik have effectively ended this round. There's still 90 seconds left, though.
Now, Parker, there is no mute. There is no Mozzie. So why... oh, why is Livid entering into New Balcony and Cigar without first having droned out Piano? Hypers will get S4. It's a good pick there. It'll bring it a little bit closer. Now, Hypers has been one of the standout performers for Livid, so maybe he's going to clutch up here. But as he takes even more damage, it's seeming unlikely. He knows that Storms is still playing by ticket. Nade goes in. Here comes Storms with the peak, and he'll lose the fight to Hypers, but low HP now is Hyper, so Zigalo is going to have to put in some serious work, and he's been playing pretty support-oriented roles throughout this entire match. It doesn't seem likely. Speaking of it, how is this not open? Hyper's scared of the smoke. He will die very quickly to that gas canister, but he at least gets control of Piano. Some work can be done now on back bar storage wall and give some more angles to the attack.
Much more winnable than it was a couple minutes ago. The Jaeger of Lackey is lurking just by the bar, crouch level. There's an Evil Eye Cam that will pick up the advance of Hypers, and he gets swung on by Lackey looking for another, and he'll pick up both. Great play by Lackey. Nordic still very much in this. We got one more round. Who had this one going all 15 rounds on their 2020 card?
I did not.
Michael, you could have lied. I wouldn't have known.
Ah, it's fair. I could have done that, yeah. But I'd be disingenuous. I don't want to do that.
I suppose. You have morals.
Yeah. Somewhat. You too, I assume.
Thanks, man. I like to think I do.
Yeah, good. Yeah, no, I don't think anyone really expected this to go 7-7. Whether or not you expected, or no matter who you expected to win, I guess. But here's the key. It has been very defender-sided. We are going to the final round, and Livid are the ones who get to defend. That's a huge advantage, of course. They're going to go to reading fireplace. So that's the standard. It's more like reading dining. I don't know why we call it fireplace. Like, the fireplace is a fixture within the room. It's really a dining. Anyway, it doesn't matter. This is your standard secondary for most teams. Some tertiary. It depends on the team. In this instance, for Livid, I think it's safe to say secondary. They've been really favoring the middle floor and top floor over that bottom floor. It has been, I mean, all right for Livid. I will say that Nordic is probably going to change their attack strategy in this round because they've been good at keeping Livid on their toes and always moving things into different directions. There have been some consistent failures on Nordic's side when it comes to attack, but I have hope for Nordic that they're going to be able to give us something new here.
I've been surprised by both these teams, not necessarily for the best reasons. Livid have overperformed my expectations, and to a certain extent, Nordic, I don't want to say haven't, but they've met most of my expectations, to be honest. I just think that Livid has done a little bit better than I'd anticipated.
Yeah.
I do want to remind everybody that while we're setting this stage coming into this, the reason why we are casting the way that we are is the fact that Nordic were, for a period of time, to me, the undisputed second best team in the Canada division. They now look like they are in a race, unfortunately, to this relegation spot with Livid, and as both of these teams are pretty evenly paced. The one good thing working in Nordic's favor is that this is Livid's map, so it is very possible that we see Nordic bounce back on Villa, regardless of what the result is here.
Absolutely true. We could go to a 3-map series at this rate. In fact, it's seeming kind of likely. But in the here and now, got some mute jammers slowing down some Selmas there on the wall. And there is, it seems, yes, a mute jammer on both walls. That will need to be taken care of. ADS clear there from, I believe, S4, which allows the nade to go in, which will get the mute jammer, which will allow the Selma to open the wall.
And it'll get opened up as we haven't seen Kitchen in an eternity, as we are back in the reading bomb site. No play on that bomb down on the bottom floor, the sets of bombs, rather. So Nordic's entry with Skies and Lackey intertwined right now, waiting to possibly strike, as they are very close to the A-bomb inside of Dining. You've still got members of Nordic that are outside. This has been a very quick round. We are already 1 minute remaining. So at this point, you're going to have to go if you're Nordic. You've done some good work. You don't have control of that third floor. You need to be wary of any flanks that might present themselves. Right now, it looks like there's a couple that could come out. The big one is going to be Rowdy Owly, and he'll be policing the doorway into reading, making sure that nobody makes too much noise. On the flank is Hypers, exactly as a Nomad would do. Gets caught with an air jab. Sky sustaining some damage as there's a jammer on the wall of reading. It'll need to be dispatched. 1 kill for Hypers as Storms takes him out. Storms with 19 frags. He's not doing too bad of a job. Lackey punished over by the reading door, and now it's Bozak to try and determine the location of the remaining defenders. They're bundled up at the moment inside of reading. 3 of them, 1 inside of reading, 2 inside of laundry, watching these angles. Lackey down, now goes Rowdy Owly. Mark's coming out, 5 seconds left. Nordik will dominate the kill feed, but they're going to need to plan or else they're going to run out of time. S4 gets shut down at the last second. Zigalo wins it in no time left on the clock. He's obviously fired up, and Livid take map number 1.
Zigalo, a huge save there from almost a monumental train wreck for Livid. Livid was in full control of that round after Hyper got the initial pick on the flank, but following that pick, everything went awry for the defense. The C4 is poorly timed, etc. Honestly, that C4 was like 1 second too slow, 1 second too fast. It was really weird to watch. And then you had the top floor clear. Just the attackers just waltzed into Cocktail and cleared out to the Valkyrie up there. Basically everything went wrong for Livid, and then because of the limited time, Zigalo gets to save it.
21 kills for Storms, by the way, as Livid eke out a victory on their own map. We've still got Villa remaining for you, and if required, Oregon is map number 3. Don't go anywhere, though. We've got some commercials for you. And then more Rainbow Six and Canadian Division action. Sit tight, don't touch that browser.
Welcome back, I'm Jackie Jing with Kixen and Taro, and a wild Map 1 cafe pushed into overtime. Livid taking down Nordik. And gentlemen, we're looking at some of the highlights here. Let's talk about some of the best plays that we saw and kind of give everyone at home a recap of what we just saw here. And Taro, you want to start?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the conversation about this match is going to be dominated by misplays, as I don't think there was any shortage of them at all. But there were definitely some great plays that we got to see. Brian's 4K was exceptional. Lackey at a 3K. There was Brian's 4K right in front of you. Zigalo, the clutch at the very end. We saw some great plays from Storms. I mean, you don't amass 21 kills like he does without a couple really extraordinary rounds, even if the one that's on your screen right now was utterly impactless. So, I mean, I still think that both teams committed a lot of mistakes. They are relatively newer teams, and there is I think, a belief that we can handle them with a bit of kid gloves in regards to the way that we compare them and stack them up to teams that have been together for quite a long period of time. But I like what I saw on some sites. As I said, some sites were much more definitive than others. When you look at a map like Villa, you're going to find something similar to Cafe, which is that you've got 3 to 4 very workable bomb sites. If it ends up swinging wildly in one direction or another, it's just going to come down to who's more comfortable on which bomb sites and has a better site selection.
Yeah, and we have your statistics up on the screen right now, and Hypers and Storms bringing in a ton of kills there. But, and Terry, I want to pick your brain a little bit more. I heard you saying that you thought that this was a lot closer than you anticipated. And you said that Livid was playing with more confidence and you felt like that was getting to Nordik. What do you think happened with Nordik? Do you think that this was very mental, or what do you think happened there?
Well, I mean, it's Livid's map pick, so there is a possibility here that, you know, we haven't seen this map played this phase, as Michael said, or this stage rather. And we have to go all the way back to get proper data on it, and that's unreliable with how long ago it was. It's very possible that Nordik are just a brutal team on Cafe, and Livid struggled, and we'll see that on Villa. Nordik ends up crushing them on Villa. I think we'll have a pretty good idea of how that stands. At the same time, I think that Nordik have had some issues. They had it against Altiara, and now they had it today again against Livid, where it's like they just get caught by rotations and they get caught by flanks. This happens at all levels of play. It is not exclusive to this league, but if you're Nordic, you need to be much better at making sure that your Nomad is holding tight in regards to where the air jabs are going. Maybe bring a gridlock, maybe bring more claymores if you're not bringing any throwables, or have somebody just watching, for God's sakes, because you can't keep getting caught with your pants down, as we see happening to Nordic time and time again.
Getting caught with your pants down. Yeah, without
Fully
question. All the way down. Yeah.
All the way down.
Some of the rounds were definitely crazy. I love the way Taro put it. But Kix, I wanted to see what you thought when it came to players who thrive the best in the chaos. Who stood out to you?
Well, obviously Storms, Brian, and Hypers. I'd say that those are the big three for me in that match. In particular, Hypers, he's playing so much better than we've seen him play before in his limited experience, and I think that's really big for Livid. Brian seems to be coming to his own with this team. But yeah, as you mentioned, chaos. This match was very chaotic. And there are certain players that really struggle in that chaos. Skies, Rowdy, Owly, they kind of fell asleep in map number 1. It's cool to see that we have a map where, maybe just a map, we'll see what happens in number 2. It's cool to see that we have a map where the chaos thrives, the strategy kind of goes by the wayside, but neither team relents with their gameplay. No one of these teams fell asleep and just, keeled over and gave up. And that's why we got to see such a close map. Hopefully, we'll see more close maps moving forward, but at least map number 1 was quite interesting.
Yes, interesting is the word for map 1 for sure, but let's see how map 2 Villa plays out. Gentlemen, I believe that our teams are almost ready to roll here, so take it away. I'll see you in a little bit. Bye. Bye, Mel. See you, Mel.
Oh, I thought you keep, every time you say that, I thought that you keep saying, like, see you now, and then I realized that you're talking to the koala.
I was about to say,
confused
who's Mel?
every time. Anyway, Michael, we got Villa ready. Livid is going to be starting on defense. Now, something interesting about Villa, you noted earlier today in the preamble, if I remember, that Villa is actually a map that is doing pretty well for the attackers at the moment. Do I remember hearing that correctly?
Well, yeah. It's one of the more attacker-sided maps in the U.S. division, through, I think, like 3 times being played or something like that. And, if you want to correlate that over to the Canadian division, you could do. I mean, the meta is somewhat similar, but yeah, it's on the attacker side. It's more balanced, certainly.
Which is so weird to say, just because this used to be the most defender-sided map for a period of time, if you recall. All new maps tend to go this way. Clubhouse had that distinction for a while. Cafe had that distinction. I think it's Oregon now that is the most defender-sided in the entire map pool, if I remember. So
you would be right about that. Yeah, 81% on the U.S. division for defense.
I love being right, Michael.
Well,
anyway, is Livid going to put this one away? Are we going to have a 2-0 on our hands? That first map was not quick. We needed all 15 rounds. Are we in for the same back and forth tug-of-war matchup? Well, let's find out as we queue into Villa. Capitao and Thatcher were the attacker bans last time around. So far, we are halfway there.
How much you want to bet that it's going to be the exact same? I mean, it's very likely. Usually when teams have less data on one another, they instead ban based on their own preference. And I think we're seeing that right here. The attacker bans now finished up. If it all holds true, we'll definitely see the Mira. Villa Mira is not as good as she used to be, but yeah, she's still polarizing.
And still banned.
Yes, still banned. Sorry, I was drinking something. And the Wamai as well, so it's all the same.
You say something.
I was drinking...
you'd be so secretive about it. I was drinking something.
I was drinking water.
It's like you're popping bottles in the club.
It was flavored water, but it was water.
Oh, it was flavored water.
Oh, yes, sir.
Was it White Claw?
What?
Because I heard, Michael, that there were no laws.
What is White Claw?
Okay. What is White Claw? All right. Michael, only the greatest beverage known to humanity.
I'm going to Google this. I got to find out White Claw. All right.
Michael, when you crack open a can of White Claw, there are no laws when you were drinking those claws. I actually made that joke when Kaid was in play. I said there's no laws when you're juggling claws, and some people got it, but not everybody.
Okay, so it's a seltzer of sorts?
That's like a sparkling water with alcohol.
Okay, got it,
Yes.
got it. I've never had one.
And according to Jackie Jing, it is, and I quote, delicious.
Yeah, she dropped a what? Oh my god, delicious when we were having that conversation.
Yes, and even production said that I was correct. So I have the full backing now.
Well, I wasn't disputing anything he
Could we
said.
get a White Claw sponsorship?
Well,
Production, can you hear me? Face it, Ubisoft. I don't know what the likelihood is that we're going to get an alcoholic beverage to sponsor this league, but I would
say pretty low.
You know what?
I believe. I'm a pessimist though, so.
Seconds left.
Parker's forever the optimist.
I know a specific food chain that could actually sponsor this.
Well, are you gonna say it or?
No, I was gonna make a joke about the food chain that caused you to
Oh right.
get violently ill.
Yeah. Had a rough night last night. That was never.
You know, Michael. Do you know why you were able to recover from food poisoning and immediately hop into cast the Canada division? Do you know why that is?
Yeah, I drank a bunch of saltine crackers.
No, it's because you were nominated for the esports awards, Michael.
I drank a bunch of water and
you
ate
were
saltine
nominated
crackers.
for esports awards.
Okay.
Color commentator of the year.
Okay. No,
That's
but
the only reason why.
I just said I drank saltine crackers. Whoops. But no, I meant I drank water and ate saltine crackers. And yes, apparently it's because I was nominated for esports color commentator of the year. Yay. Let's
All
do
right,
it.
down goes hypers. By the way, as we were bantering back and forth, having a little bit of humor, a little bit of spice injected here into the broadcast.
Pumpkin
Livid will
spice.
give up. Sorry?
It's October, right?
It is October.
Pumpkin spice season.
Yes, Michael, no simp September is... No! Mega! Goodness gracious! 2 big kills onto Nordic. Storms is there. He manages to trade it back and pick up the diffuser. And like that, it is a 3v3. These runouts that we saw in Cafe will continue and interrupted my joke about no simp September.
It's okay, Parker. I'm sure it'll find a delivery method later down the line. Or you can finish it after this round. But in the here and now, 3v3... and it's been pretty chaotic. Omega.
So this was it Lackey before who botched it as well?
Yes.
On the oh
Get the
no.
man off nades. Get the man. Just don't let him play sledge anymore. Somebody else take the role. I'm sure there's
Somebody
one
call
person.
BC. We got another student for the school.
Yeah. He's got to
The
start.
school of BC nades go explode, throw nades good, explode well.
Oh man, no. But BC, for those of you who don't know, currently one of the staff on Dark Zero and an amazing player. He actually is one of the most legendary nading players in Rainbow Six. So, Lackey could definitely use some lessons. Unfortunate that we've seen that. Now, after that nade onto the Storms and Lackey, there's been a little bit of a lull in the action, and a staring contest has ensued.
It was a drone, possibly a Valcam that was tossed out. Not entirely sure.
Valcam, yeah.
Diffuser being dropped, by the way, because Lackey knows he's not going to be able to survive any of those toxic canisters or plant denial, as there's still one remaining from Brian to huck on out. And he'll look to do that. Missed opportunity, but that smoke canister shouldn't miss. We'll see. It's doing damage to Bozak. Finished up by Brian. Excellently played by the smoke. They're using his utility and gun to great use and effectiveness. Lackey with 1, Storms another. It's Zigolo in a 1v2. Hog in hands. He's going to have to wait out. He loses the battle to Storms. I think he was shooting at the door. Not sure. Nordic take round number 1.
I can't believe Nordic wins that. Well played to Nordic, seizing upon the opportunities that Livid handed to the attack. Ah, man. Every advantage there for Livid. Every single advantage. Plenty of denial in the gas canisters. I think they even had a C4, though I'm not going to say that definitively because I didn't see it. What was it? 20 seconds left when the attack started to hit the site. It was a pinch, to be sure, between Study and Landing, which is great for Nordic. They positioned themselves well. That's why we saw the lull in the action. Nordic wanted to maneuver 2 players over to top red or slash, some people call that Landing. And they got that rotate down. They still had the player inside of Study. The pinch worked out. But just one of those players on Nordic needed to die. Besides the planter, mind you. I know. Yeah, Bozak got eliminated. But just one of those players that was trying to cover needed to die for Livid to win that round. and both of them were on fairly low HP. So I don't know. That was pretty funny. Well played to Nordik, though. Massive props, landing some impressive shots. Yeah, good job to them.
Over to trophy and statuary we go. I actually kind of want to see these teams do battle on Oregon.
I do too.
I mean, I'm getting obviously very ahead of myself, but right now, as much we don't cast in Europe any longer, so we don't have to deal with Oregon.
I miss Europe.
I miss casting Europe very much.
Yeah.
I miss casting. I like our job.
Yeah,
but I did enjoy casting Latin America and Europe.
Yeah, it was nice being able to see all of the different leagues and have like a finger on the pulse of them. Now it's going to be like, imagine we do a LAN tomorrow, right? We have, I mean, obviously we watch as many of these other leagues as we can, whenever we can, but
right.
The finger is not as on the pulse as it usually is. It would definitely change a lot of the setup and prep. And I'm curious to see how that actually plays out. I'm pretty excited for it. It'll be very different. But yeah, I miss casting them all. Obviously, as anyone would. Anyway, here in the Canadian division.
Also, by the way, also makes it challenging for me to make fun of Fabian.
That's true. Yeah, it is much harder
to
do
go
that.
out of my way to do that.
Yeah, you have to do research and write down notes and stuff.
I mean, I don't really need to do much research to know that he's not winning, so.
Ooh.
Oh, what a shot from Hypers on the Storms. By the way, he hits just as well as I do. Fabian could learn a thing or two from that.
Oh my gosh. Yes, Hypers has been consistently winning gunfights against Storms. In fact, he has been the Storms snuffer, stopper. Everybody else on Livid struggling to win fights against the man, but not Hypers. And if he continues to have that much success in those engagements, then Livid could very well win map number 2. And again, I know, as Parker said, calling a little bit early, but it is a major factor. It's been a consistent thing as well.
Telltale call sign of the Alda as it pitter-patters away in the background. The take that's coming in from the attackers right now with Selmas in hand will be over by the wall in the Master, and the grenade just barely missing as Zigolo tosses out the remaining impact he had in his pocket. That's the Selma removed from the wall. There's none left for Skies. This might be a much greater and daunting task for Nordik, as they're going to need to rush on in. Livid have a really good hold as it stands. They are a little bit spread out, though, so if Nordik sweeps in and wins the gunfights on the bomb site, Zigolo will be a big one of that. They can continue to exert that pressure. There won't be that much that they can do against it. Brian is able to avenge his teammate, though, as Lackey falls. It was a kill onto Omega, and now the next one to dance with death is going to be Zofia, but a flank from Hypers as he was down by Astro Stairs. One for Rowdy Owly, and it seems like most players on Livid are going to get in on this. You just need one more kill. Could it possibly be a team ace? Is that even a thing? Can they do it? We'll find out. S4 will toil inside a Master. He can't hit the targets. There's 3 of them lined up. He might not even get punished, but he's going to take the engagement. Clock hits 0. He stays alive inside a Master. Doesn't matter. The timer running out gives Livid the round.
Great job to S4 there, saving the op, making sure it carries forward into the next round. Now, that's a good defense there from Livid. I love their patience on the setup. You mentioned it, Parker. They were doing a great job of just waiting things out. You know, it's a great strategy in ranked. It's a great strategy here. If the attack doesn't have an actual way of executing onto the site, then just let them fizzle out. Don't give them any picks, and Livid did that well. The hard destruction was the major problem, obviously, for Nordik there. After their aces were foiled by the impacts, they had no answer. I didn't see exactly what happened because we were actually looking at something entirely different when it was happening. But I believe the ace used 2 of his Selmas at once, and the impact caught 2, which meant that he could fully impact trick the wall, because there's only 2 impacts on each player who has them, mind you, if you weren't familiar, and there are 3 Selmas on ace. So in theory, if you have 1 player impacting, and you have 1 ace acing, then ace can throw 1 impact.
Okay, you can't say that.
Throw another impact.
Ace acing.
Okay, ace Selma-ing, hard destructing, whatever. Okay. 3 is greater than 2. Ace should have been able to get the wall open. I think he bungled it. I didn't see it exactly, though. That's just an assumption based on what happened, based on the wall not actually getting opened up. Either way, mistake for Nordic. They should have had a contingency. And right now with the hard destructor bans, yeah, there are none. So they could have certainly had that contingency if they chose to bring any other hard destructor. But they didn't even need another hard destructor. They just needed to use that one correct. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It'll be kitchen defense now for Livid.
I have no idea the pacing of this matchup so far. It's hard to get a handle on.
What pacing?
I mean, exactly. I think that was kind of the point.
No, I'm adding. Yes, I'm
what
with
I
you.
meant.
I'm with you, Parker.
Thanks. This is pretty standard for a kitchen defense, though. We just saw Trophy Statuary as the bomb site, and most of the defenders are lined up as if it were a Trophy Statuary defense again.
Ooh, good pick there for Omega. Down goes S4. So your air jabs, unless already placed, will no longer be. That's going to allow for potentially some flanks later in the round. Ooh. It gets worse as Brian will see for Lackey from below. So Livid, round number 3, already an assertive man count advantage.
This is not the entry that you want from Nordic, but that's not going to make it get any better. Zigolo absolutely pulverizing Bozak. I think Bozak was trying to find some repositioning, but that's the strength that comes with the pulse, and you know that he's going to be able to lob a nitro cell up and find its target, especially if you're struggling with whatever debris or accessories happen to be in your way. So now it's incumbent upon Skies, who hasn't been the most confident in his own gun skill. I think he only had a single kill through 15 rounds of Cafe. That is just frankly not good enough. He's got Storms with him, and Storms was the top fragger in the lobby, so you've at least got some ability to punish the defenders, most of whom have fallen to the bottom floors. That's where the bomb site is. The Goyo is taking guard upstairs, and oh no, that is not what you want out of Skies. He misses his shots. Rowdy Owly is able to capitalize. Owly doesn't even take a single point of damage as Skies was looking just a bit too far north. As far north as the North Star goes. Storm's inside of Astro. He doesn't have that diffuser. He's just going to have to go for kills now. He's going to run into none other than the Jaeger. Wins the fight. Still on cams, but there's 3 more bodies from Livid. This just seems to be prolonging the inevitable, given the fact that Storms will have to either play the objective or just simply go for kills. You might as well pad your stats, see if you can break 20 again. 5 seconds left. He might actually stay alive on this one. He doesn't know where anybody is. And there you go. Once again, timer will run out. 2 rounds in a row that Livid have just needed to sit back and wait. They were passengers the final 30 seconds of both of those rounds, but they have the lead.
All right, Storm's clearly really frustrated and hungry for those kills. The mechanics on display there from Storms were impressive at the very least. Well played to him, even though he didn't win it. Normally, I would say, okay, this mistake or that mistake, but actually just Livid with amazingly well-timed and placed C4s from below and no IQ being brought from Nordic. Of course, that is a major factor, and it is a mistake in this case, but, you know, you don't have to bring an IQ. She's really useful on Villa, but you don't have to, so, But because the IQ was not brought, and the C4s were so well-placed from Livid, again, major props for that. That is the key to that round, is the C4s from below. The roamers were confident, calm and collected above, and did not give any kind of suggestion to us that they were going to retreat at any point. The roamers were upstairs to kill. It's a very different roam than what we're used to seeing on that site. Normally, it's a delay strat, but not with Livid. And the reason they were so confident was because of those C4s, because of their confidence in their teammates to detonate them at the right place at the right time. And exactly that happened. So that is well-coordinated setup upstairs for Livid. And it is actually, in my opinion, that was probably the most well-executed round we've seen through this entire match, specifically by Livid. And yeah, again, an IQ could have thrown a wrench in those plans if she were there. That is one of the more minor mistakes that detracts from the success of a round, in my opinion. So let's just let it slip by.
Yeah, they really did not let up at all on that top floor, and they were able to hold it for I think, a considerably long period of time, obviously to their benefit. Well put together, as you talked about, and a fairly decisive round going in their favor. So the only site that we have seen played by Livid so far that they have not been successful on is Aviator. Living Room and Library have not shown up yet, so
yeah, I mean,
we'll wait patiently to see if it does. With the way that these teams were treating bomb sites on Cafe, I think things are relatively ordinary, but it was a surprise that we didn't see Kitchen at all on Cafe. It wouldn't surprise me at all if we don't see it, or if we don't see Living Room Library here. That was some pretty decent utility, but I think the ADS was mispositioned because it was farther behind the shield, and you could see that Nordik knew how to tackle it, as that grenade isn't going to get caught by an ADS. It just blows the shield right up.
You got two options with your ADSs. You can put them farther forward, which means that it'll always catch everything, and there's no way they're going to be able to get the shield until they burn the ADS. Or you can put it further back so that it's harder to burn that ADS, so it's more likely to persist for longer. For example, those stuns detonated because they didn't make it to the ADS. But if you do that, which is what we saw Livid do, it also means the explosive could be placed just out of reach of the ADS and get the shield, which is exactly what we saw. So yeah, you have to figure out how you want to juggle that, how you want to handle that. Because the Wamai is banned, it's generally better to place the ADSs in safer spots, but in this case, it didn't work out for Livid. Anyway, Ash Charge will clear out the ADS on, or rather, the Evil Eye, I believe it was, on 90. So that's information
I think it
loss.
was the shield, wasn't it? That they were...
The shield was first, then the Evil Eye on 90, yeah.
Yeah.
Great efficiency on the, I guess, explosive utility here from Nordik so far.
They've opened up a tiny portion of that study wall. I think there was an impact that was thrown out by Zigolo to try and catch it, but was not successful, not the way that they wanted to. This is where push is going to come to shove for the attackers. Owlie's position given away now as he's prone. That proximity detonation will go off. If they don't know his spot, he might be good to just sit here, and it doesn't seem like they want to engage in the fight just yet until Bozak walks right up. And that's the first pick. It comes very late into the round. Aviator so far going in favor of Nordik. Still time for Livid to be able to come alive, but as of right now, the attackers have pretty good control, and Bozak, all the confidence in the world, but he loses the fight to Zigolo. Brian, emboldened as well, finds one. Sky's going for the plant, means it's going to be a 4v2. Somebody will need to stop him. Down goes S4. Skies will be able to get away with this one. Lackey covering perfectly. Out comes the shotgun, but it's low ammo. 2 bullets. That's it. Making it count. 1 for Brian. He's absolutely leveling everybody. 5 kills. The Malusi dispatched, but Zigolo with the clutch, and Brian will finally get the kill he wanted. 6 on the board for him. And Livid correct their mistakes in the post plant and take the round. 3 now for them in a row.
Beautiful play there from Brian. A nice retake onto the bar. Honestly, I was a little bit scared for Livid when the gas canisters ran out and the bar was being planted behind for Nordik. You'd think that that would be the final nail in the coffin, but because Nordik was so lackluster on their coverage, they weren't able to hold that post plant. Further, we saw some really aggressive play from Bozak, who tried to push into gun vault when his team had control of the bar. Not necessary is the phrase I would use to describe that. Zigolo got that pick nice and easily, as it was a really brazen face check of the vault door, and well, the Alda is going to win more often than not at that kind of engagement. So, well played to Livid. Nice hold on the bar. Big ups to Brian and Zigolo for taking that one between them. And Nordik, a lack of lethality in the post plant, but also in just covering for the plant to happen in the first place.
You got to feel for Nordik with how close they came on map number 1, and now a couple of these rounds, I mean, I suppose round number 4 is really the only one where they've come close. Rounds 2 and 3 were very much Livid's as they played on time and exhibited great patience. This Livid team has obviously made some significant improvements over their match last week against Mirage. Either that or Mirage is just a much more formidable team than we had ever really conceived. Both are possible, by the way.
I do think it's that Mirage is just that top squad. I really do think that Livid's starting to grow a lot. I mean, I think the proof is in the pudding, right? We've seen that today. And I think Mirage is so far ahead of everybody else. And the reason I would say that they're so far ahead of everyone else is because of their first-hand experience in those qualifiers. I think that those kinds of experiences change teams. Early kill here for Storms. Hypers goes down, and the player who usually wins that fight is actually losing it these days. Or, I guess, these rounds.
Attackers have located a bomb.
It's actually kind of crazy that in this lobby we have a Hypers and a Skies when we have Hyper and Skies on Dark Zero.
It's true, yeah. It is a little weird.
It does suck for both of those players, but it gets to a point where I think you kind of need to rebrand at some point, because imagine Nordic playing against Dark Zero. You've got Skies versus Skies.
Yeah, if that ever happens. Yeah,
yeah, that's
it could happen. It's conceivable. I mean, they all both divisions are under the North American League, so
yeah. And if Nordic qualifies for the mini major quals, and we see the same from Dark Zero, if Dark Zero has to go through it yet again, it was Mirage last time, obviously, but. Yeah. None of the 5 players on Mirage have names that line up. Oh my goodness.
Oh.
Zigalo has no idea how close he just came to certain death. Death from below instead of death from above.
That was, yeah, really hard to watch just because it was the timing on the strafing from Storms. He was expecting someone there, then strafed off, and then the cross happened from Zigalo. C4 used here from Rowdy, way too early. And Storms will continue.
Way too short
way too short, way too early. And Storms will push up the staircase. Now, he doesn't have very much utility left. He's still got 1 Ash charge, so he can get rid of that wub at the top of the staircase. But he's going to have to exhibit some patience, wait for the rest of his team to line up and get ready for this execution. Further, he'll need to make sure he doesn't get flanked from Rowdy.
Livid have done a pretty good job, by the way, of recovering since losing Hyper, and now things are back to even, as there's a kill from Owly, as you were talking about. Rowdy Owly making his way up the Astro stairs. One of the best players for Livid, and one of the best players in the lobby, Brian, is no more, and neither is S4. These teams will continue to trade back and forth. Sky's going for the defuse, and there's an impact grenade right behind him. Pinged away. This is such bad timing. No coordination from Livid as they all just get pounced upon, and in the post plant, just as before, but this time a different team. Nordic are mighty fine. They have the objective down, and Omega will need to retake. This is going to be extremely tough. There might even be air jabs waiting for him. He's not going to make it up the stairs. Bozak stops him in his tracks, and Nordic will prevent Livid from getting a 4th round in a row. It's the 2nd round for Nordic.
Oh, that is so rough, because you can tell that Livid called that the attackers were planting on one particular side of the bomb, and it wasn't effectively communicated. They must have used left or right side of the bomb or something like that. They should have used a compass call, because then the impact would not have missed. In situations like that, a compass call will work way better, just because they're not in a rush. They just need to make sure they're accurate. It's so unfortunate that the impact went onto the wrong side, the exact wrong side of the bomb chassis. But what it is fortunate is Nordic's chances have gotten much better after winning that round. Livid will still certainly be in control. Still. But they can lose control here. Nordic can get a 3-3, and if there is a 3-3, as much as Villa is a pretty balanced map overall, I still say that's really good for Nordic.
Okay, final defense here for Livid, Michael, and they're not keen to go back to Trophy. They've already won the bomb site once. They're going to go downstairs to Kitchen, and we're probably going to see the same thing that we saw before, which is the heavy roam upstairs. You complimented them previously on this bomb site for how good they were. You called it the best and most coordinated that we'd seen out of Livid.
Yep.
And a lot of it came because they did not concede that top floor one bit. They were very well organized in the back of Trophy. They didn't really have anybody needed in statuary. They were able to control Armory, or sorry, rather Astro, not Armory. All in all, it was a very solid hold, and then they had the great play from below, especially the Pulse, which prompted you to say, well, maybe you could bring an IQ to deal with that. Nordic have a lot to try and work through. But the good news is that they should understand the way that Livid played off that previous defense and will aim to fix it.
I imagine they will, given that last result. Storms is going to be entering solo into Closet. That seems to be called out there by Zigolo, who has the cardiac sensor below. You can see the pre-fires coming through the wall as a result. Once again, this appears to be that hard hold setup for the top floor. At least 3 defenders up here. Down goes one of those Melusi gadgets. Lackey will get the first pick onto Hypers, who has been consistently the initial pick for this map. That's unfortunate. Storms eats a lot of damage, but no death, and he'll persist on low HP, but still there. And knowing Storms, he's going to land those headshots. C4s are missing this time, so not a great result so far for Livid in the first half of this round.
This is not the way you want to see Hypers, who's been playing this feast or famine, as we've talked about, style, where he's either all kill or no skill. Hypers obviously had a great match on Cafe. It has not transitioned to Villa just yet. See if he can do better on attack, because that's going to be his next opportunity on the field, as there's just over a minute to go. And yes, Omega had every opportunity to finish off Storms and just couldn't do it with that T5 in hand, allowing Storms to continue onwards. And the amount of times that we have seen an Ashe with 1 HP pull off absolute miracles is way too high for Livid to feel comfortable at all with the fact that they were able to soften up one of the best players in this lobby.
We'll see if they'll be able to finish Storms off later. For now, it's just soft destruction galore upstairs. They're going to be opening above the anchors, making them rotate around, seeing if they can catch any of these defenders in those rotates. Nothing just yet. You can see that Brian's position was known, and Storms will get the kill. So there you go. That's what happens when you don't finish him off. He will still put pressure onto the defense. And considering Brian has been trying to pick up the slack that Hypers is leaving, that's really bad for Lackey, or rather Nordik. What is also bad for Lackey is Rowdy Owly landing his shots in this map. And also, look at the time. There's not a lot left for the attack. Livid still has manpower on site. This could easily be a defensive win on time, but the plant is going down, and that could be crucial. A big kill there for Zigolo. That's the cutoff, but S4 is showing up with some beautiful shots. A triple kill for the cover, and Nordik will take the round off of it.
Look at how absolutely hyped they are as they all align. The stars aligning for Nordik and S4 in particular. That was almost like a Canadian Thinking Nade style of cover, as they just watched. And Thinking Nade on the Nomad obviously has watched and protected Canadians so many times. Is that an obscure reference? You think that's an obscure reference?
No, I think that's fair. He is that player for the team, so.
Well, thank you very much.
The cover.
Yeah. Anywho, that was really well played. The upstairs was taken quite quickly. The first pick was absolutely huge. Hyper's giving his life away really for nothing. Obviously quite troubling and not where you need him to be. And then the missed opportunity from Omega proved to be quite damning. Storms was a factor for the remainder of that round. The Ashe charges came in quite handy, as did the flashes. You saw him pick off Brian, who is the best player right now for Livid. That was, that could have completely swung the round. You take out Storms, you knock off that bit of confidence from Nordik, you're in a much better spot. Could conceivably even see Livid taking the whole round off of just a single pick, because I struggle to find anybody on Nordik that can swing around the same way that Storms can.
And he did exactly that.
And he did exactly that. And he and S4 were both instrumental through the mid to late round portions, as Storms did not relinquish control of that second floor. He just hung onto it for dear life. And I mean, an Ashe up there can be quite scary. Utility, a good gun, 3 speed, able to get to the bomb site quickly. You're in a good spot. The teams will hit the reset button, though, as it's 3-3 now. No definitive winner of the first half. Though I would say that Livid probably exceeding expectations. Livid on defense on Nordic's map, on a not super defender-sided Villa that we've seen shape up. I think Livid have exceeded my expectations, but I could be off base.
I think for me, this is about what I expected. Right now, the Canadian division, again, as I mentioned earlier in map number 1, is really just 3 teams vying for second place and then Mirage. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting from the results we're having from many of these matches. Altiora clearly is, the strongest of the 3 currently, but we'll see if they're able to really punch up at Mirage when we get to that match. As we mentioned earlier, that's going to be an exciting one when we get to it next week. Yeah, here and now, this is a major match for determining who stands where. And if anything, the results thus far have proven that these teams are really close to each other. An aggressive challenge there from Omega. Actually, good awareness on the angles. You can see that, I believe that's Bozak who's trying to challenge it, and he expected it to be actually a free kill, as it's a little bit of an off angle, but clearly Omega is aware of its presence.
Relegations are on the line here too. I don't think we need to continuously harp at that, but
Relegations are on the line, Parker, by the way.
Michael, I believe I just said we didn't need
in case I'm sorry.
And here you are harping.
Yeah, I do harp.
What a play by Storms. Gets very aggressive on Rowdy Owly, and he'll camp out on that diffuser dropped inside of the doorway to Laundry. So the first pick for Nordic, as they will continue to play quite well. Obviously picking up from where they left off. Livid controlled the midway point of the first half, but then Nordic came alive on those final 2 rounds. Already a strong start. That's going to waste some time, though, as the attackers will now need to go pick that one back up. You have to be very wary of somebody in that spot. Might as well go on to drone here, and a swing from the Malusi will not pay off. A really bold play from Storms does not get rewarded at all. The one thing is now that diffuser's been picked back up, you can clear through that ADS and continue to push forward, and Hypers will get 1 kill. Omega gets dropped by Lackey. Both teams now finding themselves into a 3v3. Diffuser going down, the Valkyrie swings out, but a Nitro Cell connects from Skies, a huge double play. Now it's all up to Hypers, who's going to have to charge into the bomb site. That one miss from Brian just derails the entire round, and a 3-piece from Skies will send this round home. Nordic with their first lead since all the way back in round number 1.
Oh, I'm happy for Skies. He needed something to build his confidence, because throughout this entire series, he has been playing like... Oh, what's something scared, Parker?
A scaredy cat.
He's been playing... You heard it here first. He has been playing like a scaredy cat this entire match, and finally he gets some success. A big round there for Skies, denying the plant as well as killing the cover, and then getting the final kill to boot. So that's going to hopefully put him in a better mental space, allow him to play his own game, because he has been looking like he's been looking like he's trapped in a corner. Now not so much. Good for him. Now Nordic take the lead in this map, 4-3. That last round, some weird plays from both teams. The diffuser getting down inside of Laundry. Big ups to Storms for that. Good aggressive play. The major difference between Storms' first aggressive play to get the diffuser down and his second is that in the first one, Storms had his gun up. In the second, he sprinted into his enemies. That's not likely to work for him. It didn't. Storms died to Brian, who was like, "Oh!" and then killed him by reaction alone. Not expecting Storms to play in Laundry. And again, major difference. If Storms had his gun up, I'm sure he would have probably gotten more kills.
5 seconds to go.
No matter how you look at it, though, the success speaks for itself.
Attackers are moving.
Well done by Skies. He has been, in this match, I think it's safe to say, an anchor tied to the foot of Nordic, and not in that round, coming up big.
Yeah, I think it's very fair for us to highlight the misplays that we see as well, and Skies has... he has 4 kills,
I believe,
through 22 rounds.
Something like that, yeah. I think it's 4, because I'm pretty sure he got 1 in the first map, and then the round count we know for sure. So there you go.
Yes. But those 3 kills they just got in the previous round were very impactful.
Very, yes. I mean, if he were not there, the plant might have gone down. Post-plant, very different story. So, good job, Skies.
Well, if he can continue to heat up, then this one might be able to get put away by Nordic, as Livid is, as you can see at the top of your screen, up by 1 map. And oh my, what a shot from Lackey inside of Master Bedroom. Take out Omega. The Ashe is gone, and Ashe is a utility operator right now in the meta as she stands. That is not the start they need.
Certainly not, yeah. That the reason she is, of course, you need those stuns to clear out ADSs and magnets, in this case, just ADSs, and you need the explosives to destroy things. Good pick there from Hypers, and a nice shot threading the needle from Brian. Now, Livid suddenly find themselves with the man advantage, where once Nordik had it. Not too long ago, actually. Just a few seconds. The more pressure now on Sky's Lackey and Storms. Lackey and Storms have been standout performers for their team, so this is certainly not a done deal for Livid just yet. One advantage the attack has, at least, is the Evil Eyes and the Smokes are gone. That's all of the denial, apart from Sky's is C4. So will we see history repeat itself so immediately? Possible. We'll wait and find out. First impact trick there for Storms. He gets rid of the first Selma, and there's the second Selma. Now there is a third Selma and no more impacts. Crazy how nature do that. And the wall will get opened up with still plenty of time for the attack to finish their execution as Hyper picks up his second and third kill. Beautiful shots there from landing. Now it's just Storms.
Is that another Selma that'll go off and manage to take some of the wall? Shot from the back as the Malusi swings out, but it's all over. Rowdy Owly will answer back, and we are back to a 4v4 or a 4-2-4. These teams are just currently absolutely unable to shake one another, and just goes to show how even they all are. Hypers in particular are starting to heat up for his team. Livid desperately needs that. He was relatively absent on defense. He was taking up space on certain parts of the map, but wasn't finding the kill sheet the way that they needed him to. He's been significantly better through these 2 rounds on attack. And those 2 really early picks, I think, really set the tempo for Livid. Yeah, they could have continued to get dragged down by the fact that they lost Omega. You lose your Ashe. That's some that's some soft breach. That's a hard counter to the utility soak meta that you can see. She has those 2 breaching charges and 3 flashbangs. Or I guess breaching rounds. I tend to use those interchangeably, even though they're obviously very different.
I like to say Ashe charges or just charges.
I try to do that.
What stops you?
I'm a sucker for specificity, Michael.
I mean, you can use any terminology, really. I think everybody gets it. Quickly, by the way, if you guys are wondering what happened with those Selma charges, you know how they descend slowly? The impact only got the top charge, and on the second Selma that was thrown on the wall, the impact didn't get the descending charge because it was placed low enough. When it went down, the impact's radius wasn't far enough. So that's why he had a third Selma for the other wall, just to clarify that in case anyone was confused.
That's correct.
Yes.
All right, well, back to the same bomb site. They are going to go as it was it was Kitchen to start off with, and now Aviator again. Trophy Statuary is being neglected, so that stands to reason. That's pretty simple. Played twice when Livid was on defense. Lots more denial being brought here. So you've got the Kaid Electroclaws. As you can see, the electrical currents going through the walls inside of Study. This is going to be a little bit more of a challenge for them to be able to take those Electroclaws off. I think that's an Ashe charge that's going to go over towards the deployable shield at the top of main stairs. I don't think it hit. Oh, it did miss. That is troubling. Bozak in that spot. He's going to be rock solid and sturdy. It's going to be very tough to be able to remove him.
Yeah, shotgun blast at that range should one-shot, whether it be in the hallway or the staircase. This is a 2-for-1 hold position here for Bozak. He's got the information and advantage on the peak with the shield, so if someone pushes for some Study, he's got it that way. And then the shotgun should just, well, as I said, one-shot. Oh, no, another missed Ashe charge. That is terrible for Livid. And their chances begin to dwindle. Well, Parker, we may note the fact that Omega as an early pick last round was crucial. In this round, he's still alive, but he doesn't seem to be helping very much.
Yeah, not ideal there. So, utility operation of Ashe, not as utility heavy as you could imagine. They managed to take the Electric Claw off, and the impact tricking that could have been present won't be, as now you see some of that wall get opened up. And it's an attack from the Kaid onto the balcony, but doesn't land any of those shots. as you can see, might have done a tiny bit of damage to Hypers. No reflex test onto the Ash. Zigolo trades out Bozak. He'd been moved off his position, but now the Maestro is there to greet one and look for another as well. Sky is doing a punishing amount of damage before retreating into games. Rowdy Alley takes out Storms right in front of the Maestro, who could be the next in the line of sight. Livid with an advantage, though they will lose it immediately as Brian swings in and is greeted by the Malusi. There's S4 getting a kill, traded off by Hypers. Oh. Hypers another one. Oh my goodness, he's been so good there. And Zigolo with 1 HP finishes it. Livid back on top in this seesaw of a match. Expect overtime, by the way, if you're watching. Hypers. Obviously very happy with those shots. 5 rounds for Livid, 4 for Nordik.
All right. Well, we didn't actually see the engagement, but I could tell by the location of the players that Hypers just killed that it was really impressive gunplay from Hypers. Am I crazy, or is there like a tiny little... I must be crazy. It must be the pixelation of the... Yeah, what? I'm crazy. I thought I saw a little eye underneath Nomad's right eye, or her, technically, yeah, her right eye. But no, it was just the pixelation of the feed. Anyway, sorry. Impressive shots from Hypers there. Even though we didn't see them, you could tell from the location of the players that he killed that they were impressive. And I think that the good night is probably earned. It's probably earned. I mean, we have to have a ruling on these types of things. But again, we didn't see the kills, so it's hard to say. Either way, I think that Hypers and Rowdy had some really impactful picks there. Nordik did have a distinct advantage, and they kind of squandered it. The fact that the smoke didn't get anything out of holding top main, and in fact, Skies had to compensate for that by pushing up books, that's unfortunate for Nordik. Skies lost a lot of HP in that push and then was pretty easy to pick off later in future engagements. Overall, a step less than you would expect Nordik to get out of each situation that unfolded there.
All right.
All right.
As good of a time as ever to now pivot towards kitchen as we get round number 10 underway. I am feeling overtime. What do you feel, Michael?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely seeming likely. It's not definitive yet, but yeah, I could see overtime.
Yeah, I think overtime is... I mean, if Livid wins this round, I think the likelihood of overtime drops to pretty much 0. If Nordik wins, I think we're definitely going to see it. I don't foresee either team winning 2 in a row after that.
Yeah.
But who knows? Crazier things have happened.
I will say this map has been pretty crazy. The early picks, for example, have been weird. And we're seeing both of these teams line up to get those early picks right now. Mm-hmm. It's a good cutoff from Livid.
I will say this, I don't foresee Nordik winning 3 in a row to finish this off without overtime, so we could be in for a potentially long match here. We'll just wait to see. I think that's a miss. I can't tell.
That's a miss.
I think that proximity was supposed to go through, but...
Whoops.
It just got shot anyway. So yeah, I mean, that's a stroke of bad luck for Bozak. Oh no.
I mean, yeah, at least it's just a proximity alarm, right? So he's not stressing it too much. He does have a Valcam in that hallway, so there's some information. The charge will go in there to clear out anything that may be inside of stock, and Selma's will go onto the wall later to open up that wall.
See if they can burn out any ADSs that might be over in that area. Lamai is banned, by the way. In case you don't look at the top of your screen, you can see he was banned by none other than Livid, so they should be able to play around this on attack. Mm-hmm. Knowing how to deal with it, it might be a hindrance to Livid.
Is Memo clear?
To Nordik.
Memo is clear. They're playing it extended on long angles. Just a weird setup.
Nitrocell gets tossed out, by the way. Does not connect with anybody on Livid. This is a very slow round right now, but a good methodical clear that we see happening from Livid. Nordik is not giving anything up. They are not getting too aggressive, not taking any engagements they don't need to take. Ooh. Beautiful shot from Storms. Punishes Rowdy Owly. Diffuser is down, and now it will require a course correction from Livid. We'll have to go grab that diffuser and get onto the bomb site as quickly as they can. The Jaeger spotted as both Hypers as well as Brian are there, but Brian gets caught looking the wrong way by Skies. Nordik should be able to put this round away. A 2v5 right now with Livid trailing, obviously. Down goes Lackey. Ash felled by Bozak. So you're going to need to reset if you're the Zofia. Won't be able to do it. No withstand happening. Nordic will tie us up at 5 apiece, and there you have it. It looks like overtime, Michael, is going to happen.
Certainly does, Parker. So that setup was really interesting. Nordic went for a living room setup. They opened up the wall into Memorial to make it an extended hold. And basically, Livid walked into a crossfire. So they droned out that memo was clear. Someone on Livid was like, guys, they're not holding Memorial. We could just walk right in. And that person who made that call failed to also say, hey, they opened up Memorial Wall for some reason. And then that didn't get communicated. It didn't get thought about. And then Livid walks into a crossfire and dies. Nice bait and switch there for Nordic. Memo is generally a powerful position for either team to hold, attack or defense, and usually offers a platform to attack onto the site. But because Nordic are playing in living room and we're actually turning it into that bait, well, the plan worked. Livid will have to think better of that next time they attack on the kitchen if we get to another Nordic defense of the kitchen bomb site. Right now, it'll be a living room.
Finally.
Yeah, it took a while.
I was waiting for it to show up.
I do like this site. I think it's always a little bit of a... I feel like Villa can get pretty mundane, and then this site is always interesting. It's always something new.
The way that teams have been taking it recently is they've been taking the 2 walls next to that grandfather clock and trying to march into the living room portion instead of going for library. It also requires control of kitchen. There you go. You can see it. Look at those 2 walls. In between the armoire, the hutch.
Okay, hang on. What is an armoire?
It's that, Michael.
The dresser?
An armoire.
Okay. Never heard that one before.
Or a hutch. I'm not...
I'd never heard that one either. Is this like a normal Canadian thing?
Were you raised by wolves, young man?
Parker, I
know your mother. She's a lovely lady. I'm sure she knows what an armoire and a hutch are.
Yeah, I never heard that one. I guess.
Well, you uncultured swine.
I'm not a very good listener.
Is it because you're half deaf?
No, I'm just not a good listener, regardless of my deafness.
I was just trying to make a joke, Michael.
No, but yeah, no, I'm sure that contributes.
Anywho.
Anyway, yeah.
Anyway. Anyway. Games now, as we see them. My favorite time of the day, by the way, I get to say my catchphrase.
Uh-huh.
No matter what happens here.
It could be...
No, whatever. It's match point.
Okay, yeah. That's
oh my god, we are in free fall.
I mean, I thought you were going to get to the other one, the penultimate, but it doesn't matter.
It could be the penultimate round?
Yep.
That is true. You are very correct on that one. So
yeah, I mean, it's basically the same thing. But basically. Anyway, Castle upstairs, he's trying to roam, and he actually is doing a pretty good job of that. He just got rid of a drone, so they know that he's up here, but he's eluded the authorities thus far, and will be able to take this engagement with assertiveness, but no, he's not there anymore. The hyper's rotated. Okay, well, unfortunate. I was thinking that there was going to be an advantage there for Bozak based on his swift positioning or repositioning, but not so. The main story, though, over here, Livid have set up their assault into the A-bomb site, and they seem to have cut off many of the lines of sight of the defense.
they've opened up those 2 walls and they can continue to push forward. You're going to need to see some action happen in a hurry. 30 seconds left. And there's Bozak sustaining tons of damage, but still walking away from the fight. S4 is now down, finished off by Brian. Storms goes. There goes Bozak as well. This is a clean sweep from Livid as they find 3 kills all in the span of a second. Rowdy Alley getting that diffuser down. They'll need to stop him in his tracks. Lackey punishing Omega. Zigolo down now as well. But the diffuser goes down, so things are going to get real tricky here. A second kill from Lackey, but he gets finished off by none other than Hypers. It's match point and series point now for Livid and for Nordic. They are 1 round away from possibly having to hold on to their spot in relegations.
Well, as I stated, Livid had authoritative control over the top floor, and they almost lost it out to, I believe it was Bozak, who was playing upstairs. but he didn't go for that retake, and that was crucial in the outcome of the round. For those of you who don't know, on that bomb site inside of the gun vault, there are some angles that you can use to deny the push that Livid just used. But because those angles were cleared out by the roam clear of Livid, or the authorities, as I said, Nordik lost control of their bomb site. Nordik tried to play the long angles deep inside of library, but obviously they'll have a distinct disadvantage given they're up against assault rifles and much more high magnification optics. A rough setup there for Nordik, given that they lost top floor. Generally, when roaming on that site, you don't play it as a delay tactic, but actually as a we need to hold the top floor. Nordik didn't do that, which I find curious.
All right. Well, I see that library living room is the experiment has completely ended.
Yeah,
back up to trophy statuary. First defense of trophy statuary, by the way, for Nordik.
Attacker's objective is to locate a bomb.
Yes, I am claiming affirmation here. It is the first defensive statue. No,
You can claim it. It's yours.
yes,
The
it's all mine, Parker.
I was gonna make a respect my authority joke, by the way, when you were talking about authoritativeness, but there was no time for me to jump in.
I mean, I do know that one. I know that reference, Parker.
Oh, thank God.
Are you proud of me?
Michael, I'm always proud of you.
Thank you, Parker.
Just like how I was proud of you when you were nominated for the Esports Awards Caster of the Year.
Oh my gosh. We have to wait till you get nominated. But I bet it'll probably be next year, and then now I have to talk about it all the time when it happens.
That sucks, eh?
Yeah, I can't wait. Anyway, congratulations on your nomination for 2021, Parker.
Thanks, Michael. I appreciate you. Anyway, this is actually a very good spot for Storms to play in as he takes out Hypers. Inside of walk-in closet, he'll also shrug off a grenade. Those glasses don't help in that regard. Another grenade will go in, and there's lots of utility being used to try and get the Warden. They won't do so. Brian will find S4 from the tip of his gun. Goodbye to the smoke. The smoke being an incredibly important operator here. There's no impacts as well to deny the Selmas that will go onto the wall. So now they can begin to take the wall leading from Master into Statuary. Additionally, the sledge will hard counter these castle barricades. The Warden's second shield, this is inside a master bathroom, will allow him some protection as he's going to play off of it. He's lost 50 HP. A bullet or two away from certain death. If Bozak can swing into Master, there might be some offensive potential here for the defenders, but Bozak doesn't seem too interested in taking the gunfight with a UMP in hand. That's probably the right call.
Crucially, the wall is already open, so the Selmas are going to make it more open and make holding this more difficult, but it's already looking pretty desperate here for Nordik. That's why Storms is getting so aggressive. He's got confidence in his gun skill and is going to try and take it straight to the enemy as the attack would least expect. Positioned himself now well, and he'll get some damage onto Rowdy Owly, but no kill. The MPX does very fleeting damage. He's got that 1.5, so it's easy to land the headshots, but wasn't really much of an opportunity there. Storms continues to get more aggressive, and on drone is Rowdy Owly, and now he's in his grave. Storms inside a closet will pick up a second. Brian, whoa, and a shot from Storms! The 4K, and Zigolo is the last attacker now. Storms looking for him, ready to land the shot. There he is, and missed opportunity, but still a beautiful round from Storms as he finally gets shut down. Only 13 seconds left here for Zigolo to find 3 kills. It's not gonna happen, but he'll go ahead and try as he gets shut down from the rotate. Lackey, the final kill, but really, the story is Storms.
You know how we've talked about how Nordik looked like they were a little bit lost? Well, it certainly seemed like the same thing from Livid there, especially as Rowdy Owly took some damage. You should have expected somebody to push into Master. I had originally thought that it might be Bozak, but Storms is the man to pull it off, given the way that he's been playing today. Nobody seems to be aware of his positioning, and with it he flies under the radar and then flies into closet and gets a 4K, as you talked about. 3 absolutely massive kills. That last one was a beautiful shot.
Yeah, Storm slapped him off the earth.
Yep, they absolutely did. So Nordic will stay on defense. They're going to go to Trophy Statuary. They're calling for a rehost. I don't know why. They did not get admin confirmation before they just stormed out of the game, but we'll see if they can get it. And
hopefully,
well, we almost made it.
Almost, Parker.
Michael, we almost made it.
Hopefully somebody lets them know that they need to wait for rehost confirmation in future, because they could very easily throw around by disconnecting like that. The rehosts are not a guarantee. They are not an always gonna happen sort of thing. Wait till the spectator relays the confirmation from the admin. Either way, 6-6. Either way, it's still anyone's map. Obviously, Livid starting on attack because this is Nordic's map, so they get to choose where they go on OT.
Well, I mean, both teams were even, so there is no better side right now. If you really want to deep dive into how everything broke down with these squads, for Livid, Trophy, Kitchen, and Aviator were where they won on defense. So pretty good. They won on 3 bomb sites. They lost on Aviator, they lost on Trophy, and they lost on Kitchen. So they have a 50-50 record. They won the bomb sites they defended once, and then lost them the second time. Things were a little bit different for Nordic. They won on Kitchen twice and Trophy once. They did not win at all on Aviator, and of course they got absolutely pulverized on Library and Living Room when they tried to go there. So if I'm them, I'm going to Kitchen right off the bat. I actually did not see where they were going to before we got into the rehost. I don't know if you saw.
I did not catch it either, no. We'll have to wait till we get back.
Yeah.
Should be soon, though.
In our defense, usually when overtime happens, there's stuff that we're writing down. We're not looking immediately at the bomb site because you're going to go in to the bomb site. We'll wait to see where we end up going. I suspect it'll be Kitchen. I mean, if I'm Nordic and I'm looking at where we've defended, I'm going to say Kitchen. Because they've won it twice, and it's the only bomb site. Well, I guess technically Trophy Statuary you have a 100% win rate on as well.
I mean,
we only went there once.
From what I've been seeing so far, it really is mostly coming out of the gunfights. The strategy has been, and the utility has been a factor, although a lesser factor than I am used to. Like, for example, that last round, what happened? How did Nordic win it? Well, they lost the strategy game. The wall got opened up more than it ought to have for the defense. The shield got destroyed. That was the shield that was supposed to compensate for the rotation. The hold inside the closet didn't work out so well. Storms did get a kill there, but they traded their smoke for it, so pretty bad. So the strategy was lost by Nordic, but how did they win it? Storms he just walked into the enemy and slaughtered them.
Oh, I thought you were asking. Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know.
Were you really going to say, I don't know?
No, of course I wasn't going to say, I don't know, Michael. I know I'm not the Esports Awards Color Commentator of the Year nominee, but I like to think that at least I have some... Was that a reenactment of what the food poisoning was doing to you last night?
Sure. Yeah, why not?
What did you eat, by the way, that caused this? Tell me all about it. Tell me about it.
It was a burrito of sorts, and it had some, like, I think someone told me they were like Fritos, but there was like some really red thing in there.
Okay.
And then I ate tacos, which had shells made of Doritos.
Taco shell.
That fell apart.
Taco shell. It sounds like a restaurant. Taco shell. I don't know. It's
close to a restaurant's name, yeah.
It's on the tip of my tongue.
But we do have a match.
We do! Round number 13. So we're going to head on into overtime. Woo! Overtime. Nordic again starting on defense.
Defense. Oh, wait, we're not... Yeah. Anybody. It sounds fun to chant it, doesn't it? Defense, defense.
Yeah, they chant it at sporting events, Michael.
Yeah, have you ever done that, by the way?
Which part?
The chanting. Like, you ever gone to like a sporting event and like?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay. Because I don't think I ever have.
I can be a sports guy.
I can't be a sports guy.
Why not?
Woefully uneducated in the sports aspect of life, unfortunately.
Well,
but anyway, Nordic.
Michael, maybe when life returns to Earth.
Yes, when life returns to Earth.
We can go to a real sports, because we're esports. They're going to be real sports, which stands for real sports.
Yes. I mean, you know, we could have always just been competitive gaming, but I think that there's a negative stigma associated with gaming. And that stigma is, of course, dated in the year 2020. However, it still persists, especially with older generations.
The year 2020 of our Lord, of course.
Yes, of course. Anyway, trophy defense here for Nordic. Hopefully for Livid's sake, Storms is not allowed to just walk up on them. No detraction from the impressiveness of that 4K from Storms, of course, but still.
Of course.
Of course.
I don't... Okay.
What?
There's been some change up from what Nordic is bringing. Number one, the wall is going to be kited. They're bringing a dock. Doctor, give me the news. So, interestingly, the way that they're going to play out this dock, I don't know if it's just going to be for sustain.
I don't know.
Because Doc does not have access to that same ACOG that he used to. It's Rook now who actually has the longer sight. Honestly, a pretty decent way to balance them out.
Yeah, I think so as well. Doc is a... I mean, they're using optics. They've said as such. They're using optics as balancing tools. They're trying to incentivize people to play operators with optics. Now, I don't agree with that methodology, but that's what they're doing. And Rook is the generally preferred operator. Or sorry, Doc is generally preferred operator. So Rook gets the 2 times. Incentivizing. Anyway, they're clearing out below, and by they, I mean Livid. They're trying to drone out what they can. Find the roamers so they don't need to deal with C4s from below when executing onto the site. This is going to be easier said than done. Lackey dodges a nade inside a memorial, and he will persist here. He does have assistance, I believe, from Skies? No, it's Storms. Okay, he's got assistance from Storms, so a C4 regardless, and the man with the hot hand in this map.
Waiting and patrolling the area, AUG in hand. The TCSG's pick rate has completely fallen apart, and now instead going with this 1.5 times sight with the AUG, allowing greater magnification. Somebody's going to need to shake Storms out of the spot. The positioning of Lackey, by the way, now given away. The Storms will wait very patiently, and then he'll just head right back up Astro Stairs. The one line of sight that could have been had on him was inside a Master. There goes a grenade. Very poorly timed, by the way, from Brian. Come on, Brian, you are...
I thought that was Lackey, and I was like, wait, that's not the right team.
Not again. By Jove, he doesn't know how to throw grenades yet.
Nobody seems to in this match.
No, unfortunately.
Where's BC?
Sorry?
Where is BC? Seriously.
Get the man in here. Entry from Hypers works out, by the way. Takes down Bozak before Storms, who's been able to get back. But Brian finds one onto Lackey. Omega's been down. So it's a 3v3. Can you manage to get the Ash up? That's going to be the real question. Some staying power from S4 as Storms and S4 both get overhealed. There's still one stim pistol left, and Skies is going to be on the ground. He's going to get pushed from the top of Astro Stairs. Missed opportunity. Omega's been picked back up. Storms takes out Zigolo, and now the Doc is there springing in action. 2 kills from S4, and then Nordic wins on time. Sloppiness from Livid, and now it's match point for Nordic. We might see a map 3, Michael.
Yeah, I think that round right there secures map 3. Livid will be broken after a loss like that. The word you used, I think, was perfect to encapsulate the entire round. Sloppy from Livid. A truly disappointing execution there. So much potential in the way they chose to execute. The downstairs clear worked out, kinda. I mean, Storms did get a kill down there, but yeah, they denied the downstairs presence as a factor when executing under the site. They got all the control they needed in statuary. The smokes did the rest of the work, or so it seemed. Livid were in control, and then they had one person too far afield, and S4 was able to waltz in and deny the plant in the dying seconds. Tragic is another word, the one that I will contribute to that round.
Well, I mean, tragic for their fans.
Tragic for Livid, their fans, yeah, I mean, monumental, fantastic for Nordic, and again, as you mentioned, map 3 almost certainly off of that.
Yeah, it certainly seems likely, but don't count yourselves out yet. That's one win for the defenders, and, well, Another one will send us to round number 15. God, these teams are so evenly matched. Regardless, we'll have played all but one round. Round 15 is still very much in the cards, by the way.
Yeah, because we got a double on OT for the last map, right? And then we're getting a close to a double on OT in this map. So yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be a long one, Parker.
Yes. And it's correct. It will be.
We did say we were excited to see Oregon, and I still am.
I mean, it has been 2 hours and 40 minutes, and we are still not finished the second map yet. So, yes, it has been decently long, but these teams being evenly matched has at least given us a good show. So,
yeah, Parker, Andrew was trying to get a hold of me. He wanted to do like a meeting for something, and I'm like, hey, I'll let you know when I finish casting today. He's like, oh yeah, just send me a ping. I was like, yeah, it could be anywhere from like an hour to
the next day.
Yeah, to the next day, or so it seems. I hope he's not too angry with me, but yeah, this match has been pretty intense, I gotta say. And we've been seeing mistakes from both squads, to be sure, but always when there's one team making a mistake, and this is an important distinction. Sometimes it's both teams just messing up all over, but always in this match, when it's one team making a mistake, the other seems to be on point, and that's great to see. I think it's what's made these squads so unshakable from each other.
While they are going to go the limit, it's going to be as long as that Disrupt E United game that we saw, but round 15 certainly seems like it's on the docket as Omega tries to get out of there but can't do it. A good reaction from Lackey to avenge his teammate as Livid does get that opening pick, but it's immediately answered back. If he's flying under the radar, Hypers could pop up to strike inside a trophy, but that obviously will require them to drone him out. Also got Rowdy Owly above. This is a kitchen defense, so you want to keep hold of that second floor control. You complimented Livid's hold on this bomb site all the way back in round number 3, and we'll see if they can replicate that success because they couldn't in round 6 at all. Speaking of missed opportunities, as we talked about, there was the Goyo unable to do some damage. Brian can, though, on to S4. And now another kill is going to come out from Hypers, turns and picks up 2. Round 15 is very much on the menu, barring a miracle from Skies. 1 minute left. It's a 1v4. We are going to need all 30 rounds as he's going to toil down in the basement, and we all know how difficult this is for him. He might actually take the time for a mental reset for his team to try and get back into this.
Yeah, if I were in Skies' position right now, I would just straight up be like, okay, team, let's start strategizing the next round. I'll mute and waste all of these seconds. Or not waste, actually. Use all of these seconds. But Skies will not do that. He will just go for, okay, that's 30 seconds that could have been there, but gone. But, you know, whatever. I mean, he tried. Livid, a solid hold upstairs. That's the key to the round. Livid did not let Nordik clear the top floor, specifically Hypers. He sure did show up that round. We've been noting how Hypers gets picked off quite frequently at the beginning of these rounds, especially on the defensive side. Not so there. He played much more passively inside of Trophy, and boy howdy did it work out well for him and his team. A solid hold upstairs, as I said. Nordik struggling to clear out, but now the advantage, I would say, lies in Nordic's court. Now, despite this being a pretty even match in terms of attack defense, when you're in the final round of OT, we have found consistently throughout history, it is easier to be on the defense for most maps just because it forces the other team to initiate, forces the attack to take that advantage that they have. And some teams will choke in those situations. So we'll see if Livid is one of those teams that does that, or if they're able to clutch up and end this in a 2-0.
So, Nordik with the match on the line in their season, their spot in the Canada Division on the line, are going to go to a bomb site that has treated them quite well. Prior to overtime beginning, we discussed the win rates on the various bomb sites. Here in Kitchen was won twice by Nordik. This is going to be their 3rd attempt. Unsuccessful on attacking it in the previous round, but they find themselves in better position. Playing meta operators on a bomb site that can work out quite well for them. They will likely defend upstairs. I'm sure we'll see some similarities to what we saw out of Livid's defense. The question is going to be, will they find the scoreboard and win their engagements? Because right now, Livid, despite only winning one of the 2 rounds, have a more impressive record with kills. And I would even argue that round 13 was Livid's to lose until they lost it in the final seconds due to the time. better time management, and Livid would have likely put this one away and with it the series.
Ooh. I'm a little bit scared here, Parker, because Nordic are using the same setup they used last time, which is the library living room hold, the extended hold, that makes Memorial kind of a bait. And Livid seem to want to take the bait once again. There needs to be a clear on these players inside of living room before the attack can take Memorial. That's just a fact. Otherwise, the attack will incur major casualties.
Oh, there's an opening pick for Livid. They might be able to get another as they're just going to continue to back away. Lackey getting aggressive, but he's not quick enough to spot anybody. He's chasing shadows right now. Bozak finished off. He's gone. Hypers gets away with 25 HP. Lackey is still very much on the hunt here as he now makes his way into Art Studio. Opening door, he could possibly catch one or the other if his position is given away. It's not. He plays around the timer beautifully. If somebody from Livid looks the wrong way, this could be really troubling, but he gets detected. So they know that there's going to be somebody playing out of Art Studio. The jig is up. 90 seconds for them to find more members of Nordic on the bomb site.
Well, you've been noting how the kills are the major determining factor here throughout this series, and I mean, I think we both agree on that one. And so there's still a chance here for Nordic, despite the fact that their extension was somewhat cleared out, although not fully. And, oh, sorry, I spoke too soon. Livid gets two big kills. Now it's all on Storms and S4. I guess there's still a hope with Storms still on the board. He is the man of the hour, but it's very desperate for Nordic.
This would be the most remarkable turn of events if somehow Nordic ends up winning this, but they've got just S4 left in a 1v5. He's going to do some damage, but he's got to confront that exit from Pantry with just a tiny portion of HP. Livid going for the diffuser down, and there we go. Livid manages to stave off relegations. Nordic will be fighting for their spot here in the Canada division as Livid stun us and a lot of the viewers at home, taking the series 8-7, 8-7.
That was a pretty intense match, regardless of the 2-0, and a beautiful play overall from Livid. Brian, once again, one of the standout performers, for Livid, and Hypers as well. Hypers really came alive in OT, and Livid certainly needed that.
Well, you could quite literally hear me closing the book on that matchup. We've got none other than our good pal JJ waiting. Let's bring her on in and talk about that match.
Hello, gentlemen. You're such a nerd closing the book. Did you really close a book, or did you just like hit your keyboard or something?
It was a tablet.
Oh, it was a tablet. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can turn it around because it's got stickers on the other side.
Oh, yeah, don't do that. You'll get us in trouble. But,
Maybe we
so
can blur
not
it out.
really closing the book, but closing the tablet. But
We use it like a book, so.
True. That is true, actually. Anyway, we are digressing, and my producer is like, please move along. So, Livid does it in 2 maps, everybody. That was a dogfight. Whew. Another close one on Villa. But Livid pulled it off, and we are looking at the highlights right now, gentlemen. So tell me, what stuck out to you here? What are you thinking of the plays we're watching right now?
I would say Storms. Storms is my number one takeaway from that entire match, and that is despite Nordic losing 0-2. Brian as well, his influence cannot be understated, and Hypers showed up more today than anyone expected of him, besides obviously Livid. I'm sure that's why they picked him up. And it was a major game changer for Livid's overall results.
Yeah, and Kicks, I know we've said it a lot, but relegation is a reality. Nordic kept it close, but just fell short. So what do you think is going through their heads right now? I mean, you as a player, you know that they're probably pretty defeated right now.
I'm sure what's going through their heads is they played well, but not well enough, and they've got a lot of room that they're going to need to grow into, because Nordic certainly had a good, I guess, chance at winning that. They looked solid for many of those instances, or many of those rounds, but Livid, just as a team, was more well-rounded, better coordinated, and had overall a more spread out frag capacity.
Yeah. I mean, at the beginning of the show, we were definitely leaning more towards Nordic, and here Livid does it in 2. They are undoubtedly improving. So, Antero, what do you think that they need to focus on moving forward now?
I mean, I think the strategic element of Livid needs to continue to improve. There were a couple of rounds where it seemed like they just were not well coordinated. If they can manage to fix comms or continue to work on whatever their comm structure is and just shore up some of the weaknesses, especially on attack, then I think things will go well for them. I was relatively impressed with how Livid played on defense, but attacks are obviously a lot harder to put together. And that's where I saw the struggle. I think the biggest example of that, and the one that will stick out in a lot of people's minds, was Storms' retake on Villa up in Master. There's no reason why 3 members of Livid should have died to that when they could have very easily made a call. That's almost indefensible. Very similar to what we saw happen to Nordik from Altiora on Coastline when the Ash sprinted through VIP and then into the back of Theater and caught Nordik off guard. Same thing just happened with Livid. Whether it be bringing the right tools for the job, Claymores, a Nomad, a Gridlock, etc. It happened to Livid a couple times. It happened to Nordik as well on Cafe. Both of these teams really need to fix their attack and making sure that they're not getting flanked.
So repeatedly, I heard both of you talking about tools, like you just mentioned, but also communication. Is this just something that needs to develop with more time, or do they need to be doing something different at practice? Kix, I kind of want to pick your brain for this one.
So that can come down to a lot of factors. And obviously, given that we're not in the team, it's hard to say which is a problem for either Livid or Nordik, as both of those, those sets of tools need to be developed for each team. It can come down to the players and their capacity to learn how to communicate accurately and efficiently and receive that information themselves and then act upon it, how dynamic they are. Do they only listen to their teammates, or are they capable of making their own decisions? These are, that's on the players front. It could come down to the synergy, how these teams, how these players, I guess, on these teams work with each other. Do they like the people they're on a squad with, or are they just there because, yeah, these guys are pretty good and I'll play with them? Are they friends? Have they known each other for years? That can build up synergy. It can allow for strategy, which takes time to develop in dry runs based on the meta and, brain power to develop. It can allow that strategy to be more efficient through the virtue of understanding your teammates better. And yeah, a lot of this will all develop with time. And with successes like the one we saw here today, Livid will certainly take a huge step forward in not only their synergy, because they put more trust in each other, their confidence as individual players, but also, I'm sure, they'll learn a lot strategically from what we just saw there, especially in that last round when they countered the play that we saw, the bait and switch strategy on Kitchen. That's a really great mid-map adaptation, and that, I think, deepens your strategic pool.
Okay, and I know at the top of the show we talked about Brian a lot, and we just had our stats up, and it looked like he had a pretty good showing. Intero, how do you think he is gelling with the team? And we were all assuming he'd have a big impact, so do you think that we saw that play out today?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest criticisms against Brian when he played it in the North American Pro League a couple seasons back was that he tended to go off on his own and try to make hero plays and do things absent of the rest of the team. I don't necessarily see that with the way that he's playing with Livid. He certainly seems like he's in lockstep with the team. If he is their sole leader and the one making the primary calls, it stands to reason that he's going to be moving with the rest of that squad. And I mean, I think he really excelled on defense more than anything else, which is where he's honestly always been the better player. His play on defense, Smoke in particular, has been really, really good. It might actually get to the point where if teams in the Canada division want to try to cripple Livid, they could even try banning Smoke and force him onto another operator and see how that works, especially if the team playing doesn't have the strongest smoker. It's on a map that doesn't necessarily need one. And you can get away with Nitro cells, or you can get away with a Maestro being on the board, or if Echo ever ends up getting unbanned, bring him as well. The thing for me with Brian is that most of his contributions we're not going to see or hear. They're going to be his leadership from in the game itself, and that's something that his teammates will have to testify for.
Okay. And, we're a decent way into stage 2 now, and obviously Mirage, I think all eyes are on them. How do you think that the teams that we've seen can fare against Mirage? Is Mirage still incredibly dominant in your opinion, Kix?
Well, since we haven't seen them in a while, all we can base it on is their beating of Livid, and it was not crazy one-sided, though it was a 2-0, and not as close of a 2-0 as this one. Mirage did handily beat Livid, so based on that, yeah, I guess. if you're trying to connect all the dots in the Canadian division, again, my current stance with Canadian division teams is that Mirage is still king, and all the other teams are competing for second place right now. Livid just gave us a good bet for that second place, but not as good as the bet that Altiora managed to give us earlier in Stage 2. So it's still on the table. As Parker was mentioning earlier, and as I agree with, I think the Altiora Mirage match is going to be pretty exciting just because it is the closest we've seen a team come to actually challenging Mirage for first place in the Canadian division.
All right, well, gentlemen, thank you so much for your analysis there. But we do have Zigalo on deck. Zigalo, congratulations on your big win. First win in the Canadian division.
Yeah,
I'm sure you're feeling amazing. I know y'all were really hungry for it. So, tell me, how does this feel, avoiding relegation? I can tell you're a little overwhelmed right now.
I'm so happy to get the first win. I'm so happy to be right here talking to you guys. It means we won, so thank God we made it.
Yay!
But,
I know. Yeah, talk to me about the emotions you're feeling. I know it's been quite the journey for y'all.
You know, we all just tried to not get in our heads. We didn't think about what this game implied. We just came out and all we cared about was trying to win. Just right off the rip. We knew what Nordik was going to do. We game planned them. We VOD reviewed them. We knew what to expect. So we just had to play our game. And it came out in the clutch rounds like that, 8-7 both times. Big plays by everyone. Keep this series in our hands.
Oh, yeah, you certainly came together. It looks like y'all did your homework for sure. Talk to me about the changes that your team has made and about the addition of Brian.
I mean, Brian is a huge asset to our team. All the experience he has, his IGLing, his awareness, situational awareness. I mean, it's just second to none. It's like having a cheat sheet. This guy knows every time when you should be pushing something, when you should hold. He reads every scenario well. And I mean, you know, he's great. And we also have Hypers as well. Hypers is huge for us. Huge fragger, man. He was playing Nomad this game. I know from the last week to this week we switched roles up a little bit, but it didn't matter. We made it work, so.
You certainly did make it work. What were some of the things that your team focused on fixing and improving that you think has really translated into the win today?
I think the big thing for us last week was just nerves. We came out against Mirage. We knew they were tough. We gave them maybe too much respect. And we kind of blew it, to be honest. We thought we had them. We thought we had some rounds that we choked away. But this time around, we prepped for the whole week. We practiced like in TS, like TeamSpeak. We practiced just getting in the mentality for game day. And when it got there, we were all fine. And we just knew, hey, we made some changes to our roles. We changed up some of our strategies to better complement what Nordic's going to do. And we just went out and executed.
Certainly. And tell me what you are focusing on now. You know, you were just talking about Mirage, and they certainly seem extremely dominant in the Canadian division. Do you think that Livid can contend?
You know, if we get Mirage again after they play Altiora, I think we'll be ready for them this time around. But we got 2 weeks now. We can take a little breather, thankfully, and we can just catch our breath and refocus. Because we might play Mirage or we might get a taste of Altiora. We'll see. We'll see what's coming up.
All right, Zigalo, congratulations again. Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. Thank you so much.
Good.
Aw, you're so excited. I'm going to bring it back to our casters, Kix and Intero. Thank you so much for that great interview. But Kix and Intero, it's just so lovely to see how excited they are. You know, we've talked about the Canadian division developing, and you know, these teams are fighting so hard, and really excited to see us in Stage 2 here. And I do kind of want to pick your brains about how you think the Canadian division is progressing, because, you know, it is a region that needs some time to, you know, develop. So, Intero, what do you think?
I think these teams are obviously making some pretty big strides. Mirage is, to me, still the high water mark for this division. Altiora has probably shown, I would say, the most improvement, but now I kind of question it because of the way that Nordik played. I would actually say Livid might have shown the most improvement, but I mean, we'll see about that. like you pointed out, they're going to play Altiora or Mirage. Right now, the smart money is on Livid versus Altiora, which is a matchup that we obviously haven't seen so far. A Mirage Livid rematch is definitely doable, but I think unlikely. These teams are obviously gelling. Livid made a roster move. There's 2 roster moves, rather. They're still trying to find their footing, and I think they've been doing a better job of it now than they did before. They've still got issues. They know how to deal with them. For Nordic, I wouldn't be surprised to see a roster move. Altiora's roster moves obviously paid off. Mirage is continuing to get better. The only question is, are they increasing at a fast enough speed to then go toe-to-toe with the US division? And that's something that we just can't answer right now.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, Antero, for that. And now let's get to our Corsair play of the day. And Kix, I'll put you in the hot seat. What are you thinking? What do you
Storms
think
is
it
pushing to Villa Master.
Okay, Antero?
Yeah, I'm probably going to agree with that. Maybe Brian's 4K on Cafe, but Storms is 3K on Villa to basically save. Should be.
Okay.
Should be it. Not to put our production team on the spot.
Okay.
That was Storms is 3K, and then he got 4K in total, but it was the 3K in there.
Okay, well, let's roll the Corsair play of the day and see what it is. And
Yep.
Storms.
Yeah. This is a no-brainer. I mean, not only was it to propel Nordic to match point or to OT, it saved the match and obviously gave some much-needed momentum back to them.
Yeah, that was certainly a dogfight, but whew, gentlemen, they did it in 2. Livid taking it. Really, really fun Friday with y'all. Big thank you to Kix and Antero. You guys are great. Obviously, Mel, you're the man of the hour. We love you the most. But also want to thank all of you watching at home, our production crew. And do not forget the U.S. Division Monday and Wednesday, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then we got the Canadian Division next week as well. Some awesome matches ahead of us. But have a wonderful Friday. We'll see y'all later. Bye.